Chapter 2402. Everyone, including the Ting family's martial artists, exclaimed in shock. On the other side, Hu Yidao and the others frowned. Ting Jia's clan leader is so arrogant. How dare he swallow all of us? Isn't he afraid that he'll die from overeating? Sure enough, before they could make a move, the biting cold sword light in the sky collided with the giant python. Boom, boom, boom. A sonorous sound resounded in all directions like a sudden clap of thunder. The darkness in the surroundings quickly faded away. The sky regained its clarity, and there was even a rain of blood falling from the sky. The Ting family's clan leader screamed in agony as his body split open. The giant flying serpent that he transformed into was slashed apart by the sword. Ah! The Ting family's clan leader screamed crazily. The two halves of his body rolled in the sky, forming countless snake shadows that circled around each other. It seemed like they were about to recombine. Umph! Lin Xian scoffed. How could he give the clan leader such a chance? Next, he activated the soul-burning secret technique in his right eye and burned the clan leader's soul. Ah! The Ting family's clan leader screamed in agony as his body rolled in the air. It was impossible for him to guard against this kind of soul attack. At the same time, Lin Xian's long sword emitted a dazzling light again. He slashed his sword at the clan leader's head. Boom, boom, boom. Terrifying lights vibrated as the sword slashed off the clan leader's head. Moreover, the soul creation brought about by the soul-burning secret technique was also effective. The Ting family's clan leader's soul was completely burned. This time, even if he had an immortal body, he would not be able to survive. Sure enough, the Ting family's clan leader's body stiffened in the sky and fell to the ground. Clan leader. Seeing this, the Ting family's martial artists were all stunned. The Ting family's elders were also stunned. What's going on? Their clan leader had the purest flying serpent bloodline and was known to have an immortal body. No matter how heavy his injuries were, he could still recover. However, their clan leader was motionless and did not react at all. Could it be that their clan leader was killed? Thinking of this, they gasped. How is this possible? Swoosh, swoosh. In the sky, the elders moved quickly and arrived beside their clan leader in an instant. They quickly probed. Next, their scalps went numb. Patriarch. They roared out crazily because they discovered that the clan chief's aura was already gone, his body ice cold. His life force was clearly extinguished. Oh, damn it, I don't believe it. The patriarch had an immortal body. They roared crazily. In the distance, the Ting family's martial artists were dumbfounded. Umph. Lin Xian snorted coldly. What immortal body? Under his great dragon sword spirit and heavenly secret god eyes, everything would be destroyed. Next, it's up to you old fellows. Kneel down obediently and I'll give you a quick death. Lin Xian's voice was cold, and the long sword in his hand flashed again. The elders roared madly. They had truly gone mad. They had gone too far. Fight it out with him. The remaining 7 or 8 elders roared at the sky and charged over. Boom, boom. A great battle broke out. However, Lin Xian did not hold back. At this moment, the heavenly fate divine eyes, great dragon sword spirit, and ancient dragon abyss sword were fully utilized by him. His speed was as fast as a ghost, appearing and disappearing unpredictably. In the blink of an eye, he had killed 5 elders. The remaining 3 elders fled crazily. With another 2 slashes, the other 2 elders were split in half in the sky. In the end, only the second elder was left. He was also a peerless almighty. At this moment, his body was covered in blood, and his eyes were red like a demon. He did not expect the other party to be so powerful that he could kill so many elders in the blink of an eye. He could not believe it. He did not make a move. Instead, he roared crazily. Great ancestor. Supreme elder. He was really afraid. He knew that he was no match for the other party at all. However, the Ting family would not be so simple. They had their own foundation. Sure enough, as the voice sounded, a few powerful auras recovered. The auras were too terrifying. They were like prehistoric beasts that crushed the void. They were even more terrifying than the previous elders and the Ting family's patriarch. The living fossil elders had come out. Seeing this, the Ting family's martial artists exclaimed. They knew that the Ting family was fine. Each of these living fossil elders had lived for more than 3,000 years. Could be said that they were very terrifying. Normally they would not come out. They would only make a move when the family was in danger. Now that they had come out, they could suppress everything. The 5 living fossil elders stood in the air. Their hair hung down to their heels, and their faces were full of vicissitudes of life. They leaned on crutches and their bodies were trembling. Nevertheless, when they saw the scene in front of them and even the Tang family's patriarch who had been killed, they were all furious. They roared at the sky and their bodies burst out with a biting cold aura. Their turbid eyes instantly became sharp and dazzling like divine lamps. Who are you? The 5 living fossils stared at Lin Xian and the martial artists behind Lin Xian. They frowned deeply. Buzz. All of a sudden clouds and mist rolled in the sky. A huge human face appeared. The face was very demonic. It looked like a human but it was covered in scales. In particular, its eyes were purple and flickered with a strange light. As soon as the face appeared, its aura was even more terrifying than the 5 living fossils combined. This was because it was the aura of an invincible king. Greetings, great ancestor. At this moment, the tens of millions of martial artists of the Ting family respectfully bowed and congratulated him. Even the 5 living fossil elders in the sky bowed one after another. This was because the face was the projection of the Ting family's great ancestor. It was an invincible king. In the sky, as soon as the invincible king's face appeared, his purple eyes shot out 2 purple lightning bolts that struck Lin Xian. It contained the power and will of an invincible king. It was very terrifying. The surrounding people were shocked. Even Hu Yidao and the others felt a chill run down their spines. Lin Xian snorted coldly. He waved his hand, and the saint's hand bone appeared above his head, emitting the aura of a saint. In an instant, the 2 purple lightning bolts were destroyed. In the next moment, his expression was incomparably cold. At the same time, Xing Tian, who was beside him, also shouted angrily and stood out. Very well. How dare you attack my young master? Do you want to die? His voice was like thunder, shaking the surroundings. It was the aura of a saint. In the sky, the demonic human face ignored Xing Tian. Instead, it stared at the saint's hand bone. In the next moment, its eyes shone brightly. It did not expect to encounter a saint's treasure. Perhaps this is the opportunity for me to break through. Buzz. Beside the human face, a terrifying hand appeared and grabbed downward as if it wanted to grab the saint's hand bone. You're courting death. Seeing this, Lin Xian's face darkened. Chapter 2403. Whoosh. A black mirror appeared in the sky and floated above his head. Then a black ray of light flew out. It blasted towards the terrifying palm in the sky. Boom. The palm was instantly pierced through. Then, it turned into spiritual qi and dissipated in the void. Seeing this scene, the Ting family's martial artists went crazy in disbelief. That was the palm of an invincible king. It was extremely terrifying. Even living fossils couldn't resist it. However, the other party destroyed it so easily. What exactly was that black mirror? In the sky, the demonic human face was also angry and shocked. Damn it, how dare you destroy my attack? All of you must die. A cold killing intent appeared in his eyes. However, in the next moment he was stunned. Not only was he stunned, but his demonic face was also filled with shock. This was because the second elder raised his hand and threw out a golden scroll. The aura of this scroll was too terrifying. Even the invincible king was terrified. Lin Xian was also extremely surprised. He felt that the aura on the scroll was very similar to the aura of his saint's hand bone. Thinking about it, it should be something passed down by a saint. No wonder the invincible king was afraid. Damn it, who exactly are you? The demonic human face didn't attack. Instead, he gritted his teeth and asked, Who are we? Don't you know now? That elder shouted coldly. The golden scroll above his head shone even more brightly. It even formed mysterious runes that surrounded the surroundings. What? It's actually you? When the demonic human face saw the shape of those runes, his pupils immediately constricted. His purple eyes were filled with shock. Obviously he recognized what it was. A smile appeared on Lin Xian's face when he saw this scene. Since they recognized him, things would be much easier. He didn't believe that the other party would dare to fight against Immortal Palace. So what if they were from an invincible king family? Immortal Palace had 6 protector elders, and all 6 of them were invincible kings. This was only the strength on the surface. Immortal Palace's foundation was probably terrifying. Sure enough, the demonic human face was no longer arrogant. Instead, it asked in a deep voice, What do you want? You'll have to ask our palace master. Immortal Palace's elder said coldly. What? Palace master? The demonic face looked at Lin Xian in disbelief. However, in the next moment he still asked, May I ask Hallmaster, what are your plans? I've said before that I'll let the Ting family live if I kill your patriarch and the 10 great elders. Now that the Ting family's patriarch was dead, Only one of the 10 great elders was left. Tell him to obediently roll over and accept his death. What? Did he really have to kill all 10 elders? The Ting family's martial artists were shocked. The demonic face in the sky was also silent. Damn brat, you've gone too far. Second elder Jianghu roared crazily. The 5 living fossil elders didn't expect the other party to still want to kill them. Their faces turned gloomy and their eyes emitted a biting, killing intent. This was because they still didn't know what kind of power the other party was from. However, they did not dare to act rashly. They could tell that their patriarch was very wary of the other party. Otherwise, with their old ancestor's character, he would have killed everyone with a single slap. However, their old ancestor didn't do that. This meant that the other party's identity was definitely not simple. In the sky, the demonic face was silent for a moment, then it asked, "Is what you said true? Are you willing to let the Teng family go? Of course, as long as you issue an apology to the Teng family and spread it throughout the Ninely dynasty, I can let the Teng family go." Okay, it's settled then. The demonic face nodded and said, "Do it then." What? Hearing this, everyone was stunned. They simply could not believe their ears. What did our great ancestors say? Do it? Are we really going to let the other party kill our only remaining second elder? God, what exactly is going on? At this moment, the Teng family's martial artists were all dizzy. The 5 living fossil elders were also dumbfounded. What? Our great ancestor doesn't care? How's this possible? Who exactly is the other party? How can he make our great ancestor afraid? They dared not imagine. Second elder's vision turned black and he almost fainted. He looked at the figure in front of him and his body trembled. Next he turned around and fled. Seeing this, Lin Xian sneered in disdain, and a hint of coldness appeared in his eyes. Sure enough, the demonic face in the sky once again sent down 2 purple lightning bolts, directly killing Second Elder. What? Second Elder was killed. Seeing this, all the Ting family's martial artists did not dare to say anything. The 5 living fossil elders' mouths twitched. In the sky, the demonic face said, "Don't worry, I will announce to the entire Ninely dynasty that I apologize to you." That would be best. Lin Xian said coldly, then he put away the ancient sword, turned around and waved his hand. Let's go. Behind him, the Immortal Palace's martial artists boarded the black demon ship one after another. Then the black demon ship swayed, turned into a black light and disappeared into the sky. Below, the Ting family's martial artists were dumbfounded. Today's scene would probably become a nightmare for them for the rest of their lives. On the other side, Lin Xian and the others left the Ting family and set off for the Great Xia dynasty again. Lin Xian returned to his room and went into seclusion to comprehend the 5-element sword. Although he had only used one sword in the previous battle, the power of the metal sword was beyond his expectations. It seemed that if the 5-element sword was mastered, it would definitely be terrifying. At this moment, the Great Xia dynasty could be said to be in turmoil. All the sacred grounds, peerless sects and powerhouse families in the 5 continents had rushed over. This was because the ancient tomb of a saint had appeared here. Moreover, there was the legend of the nest of 10,000 dragons in Jianghu. Every piece of news moved them. Therefore, countless powerhouses would come to the Great Xia dynasty. The martial artists of the Great Xia dynasty were extremely nervous. Especially the royal family of the Great Xia dynasty, they had mobilized all their forces. However, they were not too worried. This was because they believed that even if those people came to look for treasures, they would not dare to touch the royal family of the Great Xia dynasty. They had this foundation. After all, the royal family of the Great Xia dynasty had produced a great emperor. Moreover, there were extreme weapons in the palace. With the suppression of extreme weapons, they believed that no one would dare to cause trouble in the imperial capital. They also sent powerhouses to the ancient tomb of the saint. Moreover, they were the closest, so they had already sent people when the ancient tomb was first discovered. Not only the royal family but all the major families in the Great Xia dynasty had also sent people. However, the ancient tomb of the saint was extraordinary. Even though they had been deciphering it for 1 or 2 months, they had not been able to crack it at all. In fact, they had even triggered a trap, causing many powerhouses to fall. Chapter 2404. In the past few days, with the arrival of experts from all over the world, some of the restrictions outside the ancient tomb had been removed. Therefore, the ruins outside the ancient tomb had also appeared in front of everyone. Although they were dilapidated, there might be 1 or 2 treasures after so many years. Therefore, those experts were searching the surrounding ruins. At this moment, in one of the ruins, there were 2 groups of warriors confronting each other. Their auras were very heavy, and there were even countless cracks in the space between them, as if it would collapse at any time. Get lost, this is the territory of the Great Xia dynasty. The rest of you leave. A middle-aged man shouted coldly, his body full of murderous intent. The people behind him also looked solemn. They were emitting a terrifying aura, and the weapons in their hands were shining with a cold light. It was as if they would start a fight if there was a disagreement. On the opposite side there was also a group of people with powerful auras, and most of them were women. The leader was even more beautiful. Her appearance was like a fairy, and her purple dress was shining brightly. She was like a fairy from the 9 heavens descending to the mortal world. The woman in purple said lightly, "This is an ancient ruin and it doesn't belong to anyone. You want to take over this place just because you're from the Great Xia dynasty? Aren't you a little too overbearing?" So what if you're overbearing? At this moment in the opposite group of people, a young man snorted coldly. Then he held a long sword and stabbed it over. The sword flashed and turned into a long rainbow in the sky, quickly stabbing towards the woman in purple. Buzz. Seeing this scene, the woman in purple didn't panic at all. The people behind her were also expressionless. When the long sword was close to her, the woman in purple slowly stretched out her jade-like hand and slapped it forward. With one slap, the wind and clouds changed. The long sword was shattered, and the young man vomited blood and flew out, landing in the distance. Those martial artists on the other side had faces full of terror. This woman was so powerful. The young man who attacked just now was also a genius of their family, but he couldn't even take one slap from her. "Who is she? Damn it, who are you?" a middle-aged man asked. "Jade Lake Murong Qingqing." The woman in purple answered coldly. "What? She's from the Jade Lake sacred ground." Hearing this, the faces of the people on the opposite side became extremely ugly. The Jade Lake sacred ground was an existence that could stand shoulder to shoulder with the royal clan of Grand Xia. However, it was nothing compared to the Jade Lake sacred ground. Therefore, in the next moment, the middle-aged man gritted his teeth. "Let's go." Soon these people left. A smile appeared on Murong Qingqing's face as she waved her hand and said. He searched the entire ancient ruins, not missing a single detail. "Yes, Saintess." The martial artists behind him moved quickly. Things like this often happened in the surrounding ruins. Not only the Jade Lake sacred ground, but all the great sage lands in the eastern wilderness had also come, and their leaders were all saints and saintesses. Of course, the princes of Jianghu state also came. The experts from the clans of the western desert, northern plains and southern ridge had also arrived. In a short period of time, it could be said that heroes and geniuses rose together. There were more battles in the past few days than in the past 10 years. There were often people who directly attacked without saying a word. Or, if they were not convinced of each other's strength, they would also start fighting. Boom. 2 figures soared into the sky, exploding a part of the world. In the distance, everyone exclaimed. That was the 5th prince of the Ninely dynasty, right? Who was fighting with him? Looking at the lightning aura, it seemed to be the 10,000 Thunder Sacred Ground Saint. I've long heard that there are many outstanding people in Jianghu state. Today I'll experience it for myself. A young man with a red giant sword on his back stood in the void and laughed loudly. Terrifying sword chi bloomed from his body, piercing through all directions. "Who are you?" Someone in the crowd shouted coldly. "Seiko Dian Xiang Wendian." What, it's actually him. No wonder his aura was so powerful. Many of the older generation looked at the sky in shock. I'll fight you." In the distance, a green stream of light spun quickly and instantly arrived nearby. Then, the green light that filled the sky disappeared, and a handsome young man appeared above everyone. "Who are you?" Xiang Wendian asked coldly. He was tall and looked like a demon king looking down on everyone. "Great Xia Dynasty Marquis Qingyi." The person's voice was equally cold. "What? It's actually Great Xia's Marquis Qingyi." The surrounding experts were shocked. They had heard that a very impressive young genius had appeared in Great Xia Dynasty. At such a young age, he had been conferred the title of Marquis. One had to know that that was a status second only to the Marquis. Those marquises, which one of them hadn't lived for 1 to 2,000 years and were experts who shocked the ancient and modern times. There were very few people who were conferred the title of Marquis at such a young age like Marquis Qingyi. This was definitely a peerless genius. "Good, you're worthy of my attack." Xiang Wendian laughed loudly, and his sword chi surged into the sky. Most of them slashed towards Marquis Qingyi. Marquis Qingyi snorted coldly, and his body bloomed with green light like a demon king. The battle between the two was earth-shattering. There were many young battles like this. At this moment, the saints of the great sage land, those princes, and the geniuses of the aristocratic families were all unconvinced after meeting. Therefore there were many exchanges. "Haha, old man, where are you going?" Suddenly, a voice came from the sky like thunder, shaking everyone below and making them unable to stand steadily. These people raised their heads and looked at the sky in horror. Heavens, who is this? Just the voice alone was so terrifying? Needless to say, it must be a peerless expert. In the next moment they saw an old man in front of them fleeing frantically. That old man's hair was disheveled, and his body was broken. There was blood at the corner of his mouth. At this moment, his body was burning with light as he fled quickly like a stream of light. What? It was a peerless mighty figure. A peerless mighty figure was actually fleeing? Who was it? Was he chasing after a peerless mighty figure? The surrounding experts were stunned. They didn't dare to believe it at all. From the current situation, although the major forces from all over the world had come, most of them were mighty figures, and the powerful ones were peerless powerhouses. The invincible king hadn't appeared yet. In other words, the strongest person now was a peerless mighty figure. But now, a peerless mighty figure was actually being hunted down? This made them unable to believe it. Old man, you can't escape." In the sky, a sneer came again. Immediately after, two auras rolled over from afar. One of them was shining brightly like a Buddha. The other half of the sky was as black as ink, as if a demon king had come out. Two completely opposite auras coexisted in the sky and rolled forward. Who was this person? What a terrifying aura. Sensing the phenomenon in the sky, everyone's scalps went numb. In the next moment they were even more terrified because they saw a figure standing in the golden light and demonic sword. Chapter 2405. This person's body was very tall, at least 3 meters tall. What was even more strange was that he had 4 hands and 2 heads. It was as if 2 people were sharing the same body. That was the twin kings of Jianghu. They did not expect that they would come as well. Many people were terrified and their scalps went numb. When the others heard that name, they were also extremely shocked. What? They were the twin kings of Jianghu? Legend had it that they were incomparably terrifying and were very strange coexisting entities. The elder brother, the virtuous one, had the aura of light. The younger brother, the evil one, had the aura of darkness. The two of them shared the same body, but they could cultivate separately. Could be said that it was very strange. There was probably no other person like them in the entire world. At this moment, not only the elders, but the saints and saintesses of the great sage land also raised their heads and looked at the sky. Their eyes flickered, because they could feel that the aura of the twin kings of Jianghu was very terrifying. They were not weaker than them. Moreover, the other party was equivalent to 2 people. If they really fought, it would be 1 against 2. Probably not many people could really contend against them. "Old man, stay here for me." Above, the evil one sneered. Boundless demonic chi rolled and turned into 4 demonic pillars that rushed over. In an instant, the peerless powerhouse in the distance was trapped. He was trapped. All the martial artists below exclaimed, but the expression of the peerless powerhouse in the sky changed drastically. His palms moved, wanting to shatter the 4 demonic pillars. The red palms slapped out, instantly shattering the void in front of him. Endless red light swept through the 9 heavens like a wave. Boom, boom, boom. Intense collisions sounded in the sky. 2 of the 4 demonic pillars were shattered, and the old man was able to escape. However, at this time, the twin kings of Jianghu had already arrived near the old man. "Old man, you still want to run? Stay here for me." The evil one slapped out, and a large black palm descended from the sky. The peerless old man resisted, and the 2 of them fought until the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. However, at this time, the virtuous one also made his move. "The sea of bitterness is boundless, repent and be saved. I really don't want to make a move, but you're better than me." Although he said that he was unwilling to make a move, the virtuous one's attack was not weak at all. There was a golden Dharma wheel in his hand. With a wave of his hand, golden lights filled the sky. They were like sharp swords that pierced through the void. The evil child and the good child, both of them were equivalent to supreme almighties. At this moment, the 2 of them were attacking together and it was 2 against 1. Perhaps even peerless almighties would not be able to resist it. Sure enough, when the old man saw this scene, his face turned pale with fright. The next moment he roared and waved his hand. Something appeared in his sleeve. That thing flickered with 5-colored radiance and floated in front of him as soon as it appeared. The 5-colored radiance blocked the virtuous child's golden Dharma wheel. What was that? How terrifying! The martial artists below also exclaimed when they saw the 5-colored light. He didn't expect the old man to have such a precious treasure. The virtuous and evil children smiled when they saw this. "Old man, we found this in the ruins. I didn't expect that you would dare to snatch it. Now, kneel down obediently and hand over the treasure. I can give you a quick death. You'd better listen to him. Otherwise, you'll end up in a miserable state." The virtuous son also said indifferently, "This was clearly found by me. You were jealous and wanted to snatch it away. You two monsters, kill me if you have the ability. Otherwise, you won't have the chance to get this ancient treasure in your lifetime." "Monsters? You called us monsters?" The virtuous child's face was gloomy, while the evil child roared angrily. Half of the sky was filled with demonic aura. The two of them hated it when others called them monsters the most, because it was unbearable for them. "Old man, you've angered me. Today I will definitely kill you." The evil child roared angrily. Boundless demonic aura rolled in his hand, forming a death scythe. Black aura surrounded the scythe, emitting fluctuations that made one's heart tremble. On the virtuous child's side, there was also a golden dharma wheel in his hand. As it spun, heaven and earth shattered. "Die for me, you old bastard." The evil child roared angrily and quickly slashed out with the death scythe in his hand. A huge black blade light shone in the sky, forming a crack that was almost 10,000 meters long. Boom! The old man was instantly sent flying. The void behind him was completely shattered, and he vomited large mouthfuls of blood. Fortunately, the five-colored radiance in front of him blocked this attack. He was only affected by the impact. However, just as he stopped, his expression changed again. That was because, at some point in time, a golden halo had appeared above his head. It was spinning non-stop like a sun. At that moment it pressed down mercilessly. The heavenly Dharma wheel. It bloomed with tens of thousands of rays of light, and it even carried a trace of divine power. It directly descended like a golden mountain, shattering the void. Boom! In the vast expanse, the peerless old man used the five-colored divine light above his head to defend himself. At the same time, countless shields and battle armors rushed out of his body. However, he was still sent flying, and the injuries in his body were even more serious. One had to admit that the virtuous child and the evil child were too terrifying. Each of them could contend against a peerless mighty figure individually. At that moment, the two of them attacked together, causing the old man to feel an unprecedented crisis. When the surrounding powerhouses from all over the world saw this scene, they were also extremely shocked. Their scalps went numb. That was because they realized that the twin kings of Jianghu were too terrifying. They were simply invincible existences. Perhaps only an extremely terrifying peerless mighty figure could suppress them. Ordinary peerless mighty figures would not be a match for them at all. At that moment, the saints and princes also had solemn expressions on their faces. They realized that they were definitely a peerless enemy. Below, everyone watched as the battle between the two sides continued. And it was getting more and more terrifying. The entire sky was completely shattered, and violent energy surged for 100,000 kilometers. However, the people who came this time were all powerhouses, so the aftermath of the energy was blocked by the light curtain that everyone had formed together. Therefore, those people did not retreat and continued to watch from a close distance. After 300 moves, the old man screamed in pain, and one of his arms was cut off by the death scythe. After 400 moves, he was hit by the heavenly treasure Dharma wheel, and half of the bones in his body were shattered. Finally, after 600 moves, the five-colored ancient treasure was snatched away by the twin kings of Jianghu. After 650 moves, the old man was killed. What? A peerless mighty figure was killed. Many young martial artists exclaimed in surprise. Even the older generation figures felt their scalps go numb. They realized that the twin kings of Jianghu were too terrifying. Moreover, they seemed to be mentally unstable. In the future, they must not mention the word monster in front of them. Boom! The old man's corpse fell from the sky and pierced through the ground. The surrounding people retreated one after another, afraid that they would be stained by the blood. After all, that was the blood of a peerless mighty figure. A drop of it could kill an ordinary king. Chapter 2406. In the sky, Jianghu's twin kings held the five-colored light and laughed heartily. Only then did everyone see clearly that the colorless light was a fragment. It seemed to be left behind by a broken shield. Just a fragment was enough to block Jianghu's twin kings' attack. One could only imagine how terrifying an intact shield would be. Needless to say, this should be the ancient castle found in the nearby ruins. Hurry up and look for it again. The surrounding people were excited. If they could find such an ancient treasure, they would be rich. Therefore many people were looking for it. In the sky, Zhongzhou's twin kings also snorted coldly. Their bodies flashed, and they disappeared into one of the ancient ruins. Seeing Zhongzhou's twin kings leave, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. They had no choice. Their auras were too powerful, like the combination of a demon and a Buddha. However, in less than half an incense stick's worth of time, the sky changed again. A terrifying aura came from afar. It was like a wave crashing in all directions. The sound was very loud, as if 10,000 thunderbolts were surging. All the cultivators around the fish raised their heads and looked into the distance. Then they cried out in alarm. That was because there was a sky full of light swaying in front of them. It was like a divine red light flying over quickly. A large amount of clouds and mist rolled and roars could be heard. A terrifying aura spread across the world. Those were demonic beasts. An old man cried out in alarm. The others felt their scalps go numb. Could it be that the demonic beasts had arrived? At this moment, everyone narrowed their eyes. Soon someone snorted coldly. It's not the demonic beast. Look, there are people sitting on those demonic beasts. They're humans. Heavens, which faction are they from? Why are they riding on such terrifying demonic beasts? Those people were stunned. In the sky, those demonic beasts rushed over quickly. They stepped on the void and their bodies were covered in auspicious clouds. They were extremely terrifying. When they got closer, everyone realized that these demonic beasts were extremely huge. Each of them was like a mountain, and their bodies emitted a terrifying aura. Not only that, they were all wearing armor. Obviously, they were demonic beasts that had been tamed by humans. At the front was a gale beast. It was a demonic bird. It was extremely huge and its entire body was green. A terrifying gale surrounded its body. It spread its wings and green light surrounded it. A young man in green armor sat on top of it. His aura was extremely sharp. Not only that, but there was also a large flag behind him that was fluttering in the wind. The flag was 1,000 meters long and runes revolved around it. It was obvious that it was a terrifying treasure. What is this? Everyone's gaze followed the large flag. Soon they saw two words written on the flag that was fluttering in the wind. Light-shaking realm. This was the wavering light holy land. Everyone's scalp went numb. They were all too familiar with the people from the Eastern Barren Territory. The faces of the people from the other continents also changed. They had all heard about the wavering light holy land. This was an extremely terrifying sacred ground. It was the only sacred ground that had never produced a great emperor but possessed an extreme weapon. Boom, boom. After arriving in the vicinity, the hundreds of Yao kings in the sky quickly descended. The people below automatically dispersed, creating a large vacuum. Although there were only a few hundred demon kings, there were quite a number of people who came. This was because some demon kings could have hundreds of people standing on them. For example, there was a flying python that was nearly 10,000 meters long. It circled in the sky like a winged dragon. Among them, the most eye-catching one was a demon king that looked like a qilin. There was a young man sitting on it. He was surrounded by 108 halos like a god. He was very dazzling. The wavering light saint. Everyone exclaimed. That's right. The young man who looked like a god was a very famous peerless genius in the eastern wilderness, the wavering light saint. Beside the qilin, there was a green phoenix that was surrounded by multicolored light. There was also a woman sitting on it. She was extremely beautiful. She was the wavering light saint. As soon as the wavering light saint appeared, she attracted the attention of countless young geniuses. It couldn't be helped because the wavering light saint was too beautiful. They couldn't take their eyes off her. Boom. However, at this moment, the sound of thunder came from the distant sky again. Everyone's gaze shifted away from the wavering light saint and looked into the distance. Is that a dragon? Many people exclaimed. Because in the distance, 9 huge black figures had appeared. Each of them was a few thousand meters long and shone with spiritual light. They were baring their fangs and brandishing their claws. They were surrounded by auspicious clouds. This scene was like a giant dragon. Oh. Soon an elder shook his head. It wasn't a dragon, but it was close. It was a flood dragon. 9 dragons pulling a chariot. Heavens, which family are these people from? Isn't it too terrifying? They're using flood dragons to pull their chariots. How extravagant! How extravagant! Many people exclaimed. At this moment, the saints of the great sage land also turned their heads. The people of the wavering light sacred land who had just landed also looked into the sky. Behind the 9 serpents were mighty war chariots that were pulling them toward them. On the chariots, runes flashed and formed a mysterious ancient word. It's the Yi family. The Yi family of the ancients. They're here too. Everyone exclaimed. The Yi family was a family that had produced a great emperor. It was an extremely terrifying family of the ancients. For a moment, everyone's heart sank. Rrr, rrr, rrr. The 9 flood dragons came close and stopped in midair. They roared into the sky, and their terrifying voices shook the 9 heavens, causing the blood of the people below to churn. What terrifying flood dragons! Everyone's heart trembled. However, the terrifying monster kings of the wavering light sacred land who had just landed also roared as if they were demonstrating their power. Boom, boom. It was as if thousands of beasts were roaring in the sky. Terrifying cracks even appeared. Wavering light, you're here early. At this moment, a majestic voice came from one of the chariots in the sky. The Yi family is not late either. Below there was also a response from the savage beast. Peerless figures. Although there were only 2 voices, it was more terrifying than the roar of the beasts. Everyone's heart trembled. Needless to say, those were 2 extremely terrifying figures. They did not expect that both the wavering light sacred land and the Yi family would send such terrifying figures. It seemed that they were determined to win this time's saint's tomb. However, it was not over yet. After the Yi family, countless rays of light flew over. One by one, the terrifying sacred lands, great sects, and aristocratic families arrived. The sky was filled with rays of light. Countless beasts roared, and divine lightning fell from the sky. The chariots were filled with a barbaric aura. It was really a grand occasion. However, those terrifying scenes lasted for a while before those people from the major forces began to descend. They explored the surrounding ancient ruins. Therefore, the sky gradually returned to its original tranquility. However, everyone's heart could not calm down. Almost all of them had arrived. A few young people heaved a sigh of relief. Although the battle had not yet begun, just this scene alone made their blood boil. This was only the saint's tomb. If the nest of 10,000 dragons appeared, the scene would probably be 100 times more spectacular. Chapter 2407. Is the nest of 10,000 dragons really there? Yes, it's rumored to be the land of dragons. Do dragons really exist? Many people exclaimed. It was as if another fluctuation appeared in the sky. Everyone raised their heads again. Someone else is coming. Indeed, someone else was coming. A large black ship was flying quickly in the sky. Endless dark light surrounded it, and demonic clouds rolled as if it had come from the underworld. Which faction are they from? Everyone frowned. The other party only had a large black ship. It could be said that it was much smaller than the remote antiquity families in the sacred ground. However, the aura emitted by this large black ship was incomparably terrifying. Therefore, for a moment, everyone was confused. The large black ship flew in the sky, and thousands of rays of light shone down. Its appearance attracted the attention of many people. For a moment, many people pointed and discussed. The ship was the black demon ship that Lin Xian and the others were on. At this moment, the black demon ship gradually slowed down. The figures on it swayed and looked down, exclaiming one after another. There were so many people down there. How terrifying. That's a chariot pulled by 9 dragons. Heavens, that's the Yi family. Voices sounded one after another. Xing Tian also stood up and came to Lin Xian's door. He said respectfully, "Young master, we're here." Got it? Lin Xian's voice came from the room. In the next moment, the door opened and Lin Xian walked out. This is the aura of the 5 elements power. Xing Tian was surprised when he sensed the remaining aura on Lin Xian's body. It seems that the young master has mastered the 5-element sword. To be honest, he was too shocked. Although he knew that the young master was talented, this was too fast. After all, the 5-element sword was a heaven-grade technique. It would probably take decades to master it. However, Lin Xian actually mastered it in a month or 2. It was really shocking. After Lin Xian came out, the dark red dragon beside him also came out. It laughed like an old monster. Haha, I finally developed a few new formations. Kid, I'll show you their power later. Damn, it's a flood dragon. Before Lin Xian could reply, the dark red dragon exclaimed. Not only him but many people on the black demon ship also looked over. After all, the sight of 9 dragons pulling a carriage was too spectacular. 9 huge Jiao dragons circled in the air. Their scales shone with a cold light as if they were made of divine iron. Which clan was this? Lin Xian asked. Xing Tian said. It was the Yi family. The runes on the chariot were exclusive to the Yi family. The Yi family, a family of the remote antiquity. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes when he heard that. Previously he had interacted with the Yi clan. He even had a friendly relationship with a genius from the Yi clan. Yang Qi wondered if Leaf Dao Denier had come this time. In addition to Yi Wudao, there was also Gu Santong from the Gu clan. He was the one who had helped the All Beginnings Holy Maiden become the All Beginnings Holy Lands Holy Maiden. Other than that, there were also a few enemies. For example, the 10,000 Lightning Saints' son and the people from the other branches of the All Beginnings Holy Land. Tuoba family. Wait. Thinking of this, the corners of Lin Xian's mouth curled up into a smile. I wonder if those old friends of mine are here? In the next moment he asked, who else is here? Young master, there are quite a lot of people here this time. In addition to the Yi family, Alcade, Jade Lake and other sacred grounds have also come. Not only that, but those peerless sects have also come. It could be said that all the heroes had gathered. Are the people from the Gu clan here? They are here. By the way, are the people from the Purple Dawn Holy Land here? Lin Xian asked. He remembered Shen Jingqiu. She had entered the Purple Dawn Holy Land. It had been a long time since he had seen that little girl. I haven't seen her yet, but I think she will come. Xing Tian said. Lin Xian nodded, his eyes flickering. It seemed that the saint's tomb had really caused a big commotion this time. However, he knew that a large part of it was caused by the nest of 10,000 dragons. After all, the saint's tomb alone was not enough to alarm the entire world. He swept his gaze below, and the light in his eyes became sharper and sharper. It seemed that this trip to the ancient tomb would not be too simple. That was because there were too many powerhouses below. In fact, some of them were not weaker than the Immortal Palace. Lin Xian's eyes flickered. The black demon ship floated in the void and did not descend. The people below were extremely puzzled. What's going on? What is this person doing? Indeed, they were very puzzled. That was because until now they had not recognized the other party's identity. The other party did not send anyone out, nor did they descend. Instead, they floated in the sky. At this moment, a tall man rushed up and asked coldly, "May I know which sect you are from?" Immortal Palace. Lin Xian looked down and said indifferently, "What? Immortal Palace?" Hearing this, everyone was stunned. Immortal Palace? What kind of organization is that? I've never heard of it. Immortal? It seems that their background is not simple. They discussed animatedly. It couldn't be helped. The Immortal Palace had been very low-key before. Although they were powerful, not many people knew about them. Therefore, at this moment when the name came out, many people were puzzled. Originally, they thought that it would be some peerless sect or sacred ground. Unexpectedly, the other party was not one. Instead, it was an organization that they had never heard of. What Immortal Palace? At this moment, someone sneered. Even the clan of the ancients did not dare to use the name Immortal. Who do you think you are? How dare you call yourself Immortal Palace? That's right. I don't even know if there are immortals in this world. Isn't it too arrogant to use the name Immortal Palace? For a moment, many people sneered. Those who came here were all the top forces in the world. Naturally, they were not convinced. Why did the other party dare to use the name Immortal Palace when even the clan of the ancients did not dare to do so? Bus. Hearing these words, the people of Immortal Palace on the black demon ship frowned. Lin Xian snorted coldly. In the next moment, Ghost Li, who was behind him, suddenly disappeared. Several screams came from the crowd below. Several heads flew up and blood spurted out. This scene caused panic on the ground below. At this moment, Ghost Li's voice also sounded. Those who dared to provoke the Immortal Palace would be killed without mercy. What? There's an assassin. Seeing this scene, the surrounding people were shocked. The others shouted angrily, "Damn it, do you want to start a war with us?" This scene attracted the attention of everyone in the surroundings. In an instant, the great sage land, the peerless sects, and the aristocratic families all looked over. Among them, some of the saints and saintesses frowned when they saw this scene. What is the background of the Immortal Palace? How dare they attack? Moreover, the other party's strength was not bad. He had killed several geniuses in an instant. This should be an incomparably terrifying assassin. However, the clans that had been killed were enraged. What kind of joke is this? How dare the other party attack us? He's courting death. Chapter 2408. If they did not fight back and kill the other party, how were they going to survive in the future? One had to know that the people here were all top forces. Therefore they could not swallow their pride and they could not afford to lose face like this. Boom. The martial artists from these families shouted coldly, and a powerful aura swept out, causing everyone to retreat in fear. The terrifying air wave turned into a sharp sword, slashing in all directions. Ghostly sneered and quickly retreated. In an instant, he retreated to the black demon ship and looked down coldly. Damn it, go to hell. Immortal Palace? How dare you kill our people? You're dead meat. Among them, a young man roared. He formed a seal with both hands and spat out balls of flame from his mouth. The terrifying flames soared into the sky as if they could burn everything. The entire void was completely melted. The surrounding people also kept retreating, their faces full of fear. What a terrifying flame. However, Ghostly sneered disdainfully. In the next moment, his pale hand reached out and grabbed in front of him. In an instant, the divine flames in the sky were extinguished. Not only that, the void split open, and a black claw crossed the space and appeared in front of the young man. In the next moment, it hit the young man. Bang! The young man vomited blood and flew backward, smashing into a mountain in the distance and shattering 2 peaks. What? How could this be? When the surrounding people saw this scene, they were shocked. The people from the other 2 forces had ugly expressions. Damn it, who are you? Do you know that we're from 5 Elements Palace? Below, the martial artists roared. 5 Elements Palace was a large sect in the eastern wilderness. They cultivated the 5 Elements technique and were a very terrifying sect. They did not expect that someone would dare to challenge them, and they did not know who the other party was. This made them extremely angry. The people on the other side also sneered. We're from the 9 Heavens holy ground. Hurry up and kneel down and apologize. Otherwise, when the experts from our holy ground and the saint arrive, you're dead meat. 9 Heavens holy ground? They're from the holy ground. The surrounding people were in an uproar. They did not expect that the people who were killed would have such a powerful background. In fact, it made sense. Those who could stand here were all from holy grounds and large sections. Ordinary families would not dare to get close. I don't care about your 9 Heavens holy ground or 5 Elements Palace. Since you dare to provoke my immortal palace, there is only one outcome. At this moment, another cold snort came from the black ship. In the next moment, Huidao also flew down. He stood in the void and looked around. Those who refused to submit could come up and die. Damn it, they had gone too far. The cultivators from 5 Elements Palace and 9 Heavens holy ground were enraged. When had they ever suffered such contempt? In the next moment, the people from the 2 forces quickly attacked. A middle-aged man from the 5 Stars Palace waved his hand and shot out black water that filled the sky. The water surged in the sky and turned into a black flood dragon that pounced over. On the other side, the people from the 9 Heavens holy ground snorted coldly and displayed a terrifying skill. An immortal palace condensed in the sky, descending from the sky, wanting to suppress Huidao and Ghostly. Humph! Huidao snorted coldly as he pulled out the full moon scimitar from his waist and slashed out. One blade slashed toward the sky, while the other slashed forward. The 2 saber lights seemed to have come from the sky, bringing with them an astonishing aura. Boom! As the saber fell, the black flood dragon in the sky was split into 2 halves. It wailed and scattered in all directions. With another slash, the 9 Heavens immortal palace above was split into pieces. Boom! 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 As for the 2 people who had attacked, they were retreating non-stop. Their faces were pale. They looked at this scene and were shocked. Damn it, impossible. How could the other party be so powerful? They were going crazy. Who was the other party? How could they have so many experts? When the other experts saw this scene, they frowned one after another. This immortal palace was not simple at all. On the black demon ship, Lin Xian and the others looked at this scene and smiled. Very good, such an appearance was very suitable for Immortal Palace. It was a good opportunity to intimidate these people. Anyway, Immortal Palace had changed their strategy and did not plan to continue hiding. Whoosh! At this moment, a white light flashed on Lin Xian's shoulder and the little white monkey jumped out. It looked forward with its big black eyes and blinked excitedly. Wooji wooji. The little white monkey pulled Lin Xian's head and pointed forward anxiously. When Lin Xian saw this, he asked softly, "Why? Is there a treasure in front?" The little white monkey nodded and seemed to be urging Lin Xian. Lin Xian said with a smile, "You little guy, don't you have a treasure bowl? Go get it yourself." Little White puffed up its cheeks and sat on Lin Xian's shoulder. It took off the little broken bowl on its head and mumbled. It looked like a little charlatan. Gradually, its body emitted a white light. Qian Fang's small bowl also emitted a mysterious energy. In the next moment, a light flashed and a treasure appeared in the little bowl. It was a jade pendant, but only half of it. The qilin engraved on it was also only half of it. However, there was a savage aura on it. It should be an ancient treasure. Seeing that it was really caught, Lin Xian was surprised. The surrounding people also exclaimed. The little white monkey was very happy and kept clapping its hands. What kind of method was this? Telekinesis? Universe shift? The surrounding Immortal Palace martial artists were also stunned. They had seen the little white monkey before and thought that it was only used for cuteness. They didn't expect it to have such a method. It was simply a sharp weapon for snatching treasures. Lin Xian was also surprised because he realized that this treasure was not simple. It seemed that little white's strength had increased recently. However, it made sense. After eating so many treasures every day, it would be strange if it didn't grow. Ah, damn it. Who did this to him? Who dares to snatch my treasure? I'll definitely kill him. I don't want to do it. Obediently give me the treasure and kowtow 10 times, and I'll spare your life. Two voices sounded. One was as crazy as a demon king, and the other was as deep as a god. The two voices exploded in the air, shattering the sky. What's going on? What happened? All the surrounding experts were stunned. That was because the voices were too terrifying. In the next moment they looked around. Soon they saw countless rays of light rushing out from the distance. Half of the sky turned into black demonic clouds, while the other half was golden as if a Buddha had descended. Those were the twin kings of Middle Ground. Heavens, who dared to oppose the twin kings of Middle Ground? Were they not afraid of death? Was it those saints and saintesses? Cries of surprise sounded one after another. It seemed that someone had snatched the twin kings' treasures. Those people were too shocked. This was because not long ago the Central Continent's twin kings had killed a peerless almighty in front of everyone. That method was shocking. Chapter 2409. Golden waves and billowing demonic aura covered the entire sky. This scene attracted everyone's attention. Damn it, who was it that stole my treasure? Was it you? The twin kings were domineering and they stared at a martial artist. This was also an old man and he quickly shook his head. However, he was sent flying by the demonic aura in the sky. Was it you? They warned another young man. This young man snorted coldly and ignored them. You're courting death. You're not answering. You're suspicious. The twin kings were furious. The evil one waved his hand, and a black demonic aura appeared and shot forward. The demonic aura was fast and accurate, and it arrived in front of the young man in an instant. Whoosh! The crowd exclaimed. The twin kings of Middle Ground were too domineering, and they attacked without saying anything. Whoosh! The young man's body swayed and he instantly dodged the terrifying attack. The next moment he looked forward, and his aura suddenly erupted. A terrifying aura rushed out, and its power was no weaker than the twin kings of Middle Ground. Who are you? The twin kings frowned when they felt the other party's aura. Supreme Mystery Sect, Taishan Saint. A cold voice sounded. The crowd exclaimed. They did not expect the twin kings of Middle Ground to meet a young saint. Most likely there would be a world-shaking battle. The crowd was excited. The twin kings of Middle Ground snorted coldly. So what if he was the Taishan Saint? Hurry up and tell me, did you steal my treasure? Do you think I care about your treasure? The Taishan Saint snorted coldly. I'll know if you stole it or not when I see it. The evil one stretched out a black demonic claw and tried to grab him. Seeing this, the Taishan Saint was furious. How dare the other party attack him? The next moment he waved his hand and a shocking light lit up the sky. It was like a shocking divine light that rushed up. In an instant, the black demonic aura was split open. If you dare to be presumptuous again, don't blame me for being impolite. The Taishan Saint's cold voice sounded. You're courting death. The evil one was furious. The good one said solemnly, Brother, stop. It's not him. He doesn't have the aura of that treasure. Then who was it? Was it you? The evil kid looked in another direction and stretched out his palm. However, in the next moment, a shocking sword chi rushed out and pressed down like a mountain. The two collided in the sky, releasing a shocking aura. What? Someone actually blocked the attack of the Central State Twin Kings. Who was this person? The next moment, everyone cried out in surprise. It was Seiko Dian. It's not him. The virtuous son shook his head. Hearing this, the evil son immediately gave up on his opponent. The next moment he attacked again. In an instant, one figure after another appeared, and the crowd cried out in surprise. Their cries of surprise even shook the entire world. The 10,000 Thunder Holy Sun. Saintess of all beginnings. The 7th Prince of the Skyscraper. The 3rd Prince of Yinshang. One by one, the young geniuses appeared and stood in the void, causing the entire void to distort. These people's eyes were cold. They frowned as they looked at the Central State's twin kings. Even though the other party was strong, he was way too brazen, wasn't he? To think that he would dare to strike out at these supreme geniuses one after another. What was he trying to do? For a moment, the atmosphere was incomparably heavy. However, the twin kings did not pay any attention to these people. Among them, the virtuous son's eyes suddenly burst out with a piercing cold light. His eyes flickered as he turned his head to look into the distance. There was a large black ship there. Then he said, "Brother, I found him. He's on that large black ship." What? A large black ship? Hearing this, the evil son's eyes emitted a piercing cold light, like two black heavenly blades, directly piercing over. The void in front of him broke open, and the evil son's demonic aura surged into the sky. It was as if he had turned into a beautiful demon king. Whoosh! The twin kings of Jianghu's figure flashed and directly rushed over. Were they going to attack? The Thousand Thunder Saint was standing in that direction. Seeing this scene, his face turned gloomy. Although the twin kings of Jianghu were powerful, if the other party really wanted to attack, he would not hold back. Boom! An endless sea of lightning surged in his body, and he was about to attack. However, soon he was stunned. Because he found that the twin kings were very fast and passed by him in an instant. It seemed that they were not going to attack him. So in the next moment he suddenly turned around and looked behind him. He wanted to see who the other party was going to attack. He wasn't the only one. The other saints and princes also turned to look. The surrounding powerhouses were also staring intently. In the next moment they exclaimed in surprise. It was that large black ship. They were attacking that large black ship. Was that the organization that called itself Immortal Palace? Everyone was shocked. However, the Nine Firmaments Divine Emperor and the people of the Five Elements sect sneered. Let's see what Immortal Palace will do. They'll probably be beaten down in an instant. At that time, I'd like to see if they still have the face to call themselves Immortal Palace. For a moment, everyone was discussing animatedly. On the large black ship, Lin Xian frowned. In front of him, ghostly Anhu Yidao shouted coldly, and their auras suddenly erupted. "Damn you, stop right there." Ghostly waved his hand and took out the white bone banner. Boom. Endless vengeful souls and malicious ghosts screamed miserably. The entire space turned into a ghost realm and everyone's scalps went numb. Huidao, who was at the side, slashed out 3 times. The terrifying saber light tore through the void and formed a fan shape as it slashed forward. How dare you block my way? You're courting death." The evil son shouted coldly. He raised his hand and slashed forward with the death scythe. The virtuous son at the side also activated the heavenly treasure Dharma wheel in his hand. Thousands of rays of light shot out like a golden galaxy dancing in the air. Boom, boom. In the sky, the sound of an intense collision rang out. Terrifying energy exploded and swept out in all directions. After that attack, Ghostly and Huidao kept retreating. The blood in their bodies was boiling. Zhongzhou's twin kings had only slowed down a little, but they were still flying forward. The difference in strength between that attack was immediately obvious. Seeing that scene, everyone exclaimed in surprise. It had to be said that the twin kings were too powerful. That was because both Ghostly and Huidao had displayed powerful strength before. They were definitely the top young geniuses. But now, the two of them together were unable to stop the twin kings. One could only imagine how terrifying the twin kings were. Damn it. Seeing that, Ghostly's face darkened. In the next moment, a cold light appeared in his eyes. Whoosh, whoosh. The black robe on his body suddenly fluttered, and a powerful and terrifying force erupted from his body. It was as if he had turned into a ghost king. Feeling that aura, the evil son's face changed. However, he still snorted. "You dare to compete with me in terms of aura?" The virtuous son at the side shook his head slightly. "No, brother, that's not demonic chi but ghostly chi." Chapter 24:10. He cultivates the ghost path. Be careful not to be entangled by those vengeful spirits, lest you have nightmares at night. Although it was a reminder, the virtuous son was not too worried. He even teased him a little. What ghost chi? Even if he's the ghost king, I can still tear him apart today." The evil son snorted coldly, his face full of malevolence. The death scythe in his hand became even more terrifying. It brought about a huge shadow as it slashed forward. Ghostly waved the white bone banner and fought with him. On the other side, Huidao was fighting against the virtuous son. The two of them were also very intense. The battle erupted. It was very terrifying. Everyone watched the battle and discussed animatedly. However, not long after, Ghostly and Hui Dao were forced back again. This time, blood flowed from the corners of their mouths. You two can't do it. Get the powerhouses on the ship to come down. Otherwise, don't blame me for killing all of you. The evil son's voice was cold. The others felt their scalps go numb. The twin kings were too terrifying. Perhaps even the saints and saintesses might not be able to defeat them. Damn it, how dare you look down on us? Hearing that, Hui Dao and Ghostly were instantly enraged. The two of them still had ultimate moves and trump cards that they had yet to use. In the next moment, the two of them were furious and were about to attack. On the Black Demon ship, Peacock also snorted coldly and wanted to attack. However, she was stopped by Lin Xian. This guy is a little special. We just arrived, so we can't fight him head-on. We have to use some special methods. Let me do it, Lin Xian said in a deep voice. Then, his figure flashed and he headed towards the corner below. Whoosh. Soon, he arrived in front of Hui Dao and Ghostly. Seeing another figure come down from the Black Demon ship, everyone was surprised and discussed animatedly. Is Immortal Palace going to send more people? Previously, when they joined forces with Ghostly to attack the Twin Kings, no one thought much of it. After all, the Twin Kings could be dealt with as two people. But now that it was 3 against 2, it was different. Even if they won, it would be an unfair victory. Moreover, these people were all young geniuses and peerless powerhouses. Everyone was incomparably proud. They didn't like this kind of fighting style where they outnumbered their opponents. What Immortal Palace? They actually used despicable human wave tactics. The people from the 5 Elements sect sneered. The martial artists from the 9 Heavens Holy Ground also had a look of disdain on their faces. How dare they compare themselves to the 9 Heavens Holy Ground? The difference was too great. Discussions broke out one after another. However, there were a few people in the crowd who frowned. He didn't even make a sound. This was because they recognized the figure in front of them. Of course, this was only a small number. In the vast sea of martial artists, it was practically negligible. Seeing this scene, the twin kings of Jianghu were also stunned. Then the evil one sneered disdainfully. What? You want to outnumber me? Come on. The 3 of you are not enough. Let's start with 10. I'm going to kill you all today. He was extremely arrogant and did not put the 3 people in front of him in his eyes at all. I'll give you one last chance to live. Kneel down obediently and hand over our things. The virtuous one said in a deep voice. At this moment, his expression was like that of an enlightened monk, his face full of compassion. However, everyone knew that when the benevolent son took action, he was not merciful at all. Everyone thought that it would be 3 against 2. However, soon they were stunned. This was because when Hui Dao and Ghostly saw Lin Xian coming down, they greeted him respectfully. Boss, we just arrived. There's no need to risk our lives. If you want to fight, you'll have plenty of chances in the future, Lin Xian said calmly. Yes. The two of them responded and did not attack again. Seeing this scene, the surrounding people were stunned. What was going on? Wasn't it 3 against 2? Also, who was this young man? How could he make 2 young sky prides so obedient in an instant? For a moment, everyone was speculating about Lin Xian's identity. They were very curious. Could it be that he was another top expert from the Immortal Palace? Come on, hurry up and attack. I'm not afraid of you, the evil one said coldly. Alright, I'll play with you guys. Lin Xian took a step forward and the aura on his body became fierce. However, Ghostly and Hui Dao did not attack. The two of them retreated until they were near the Black Demon ship. What? He wants to fight one-on-one? Seeing this scene, everyone was stunned. They did not expect that it was not 3 against 2. It was a one-on-one. This young man actually wants to fight the Twin Kings one-on-one? Heavens, who exactly is he? I'm afraid that even the saint and saintess would not dare to do this, right? Kid, who are you? The Twin Kings of Zhongzhou's face darkened. They felt humiliated. No one had ever dared to challenge them one-on-one. I'm their boss. The thing you want is in my hands. As Lin Xian said that, he stretched out his hand and a half-jade pendant appeared. Seeing this, the twin monarchs were thoroughly enraged. Damn it, you really took our things. Kid, you're dead meat. In your next life, be a sensible person. The benevolent son's expression was also cold. You want to kill me? Who do you think you are? How dare you kill me? Lin Xian snorted disdainfully. As soon as this voice came out, everyone around was stunned and could not believe their ears. Heavens, what is this kid saying? How can he be so arrogant? Could it be that he doesn't know the Twin Kings? That must be the case. Seeing that this kid was in that immortal palace, his status should not be low, but they did not expect him to be so arrogant. He did not even know the twin kings of Jianghu. It seemed that the so-called immortal palace was really nothing much. When the twin kings of Jianghu heard that, they were furious. Among them, the evil one said coldly, "Kid, listen carefully, I'm the twin kings of Jianghu. We're invincible in Jianghu, and we're the strongest prodigies of the younger generation of Jianghu. How about it? Do you recognize us now? I'll give you one last chance. Kneel down and accept your death, and I'll give you a quick death. Otherwise, you'll taste the pain of being devoured by 100 ghosts." Twin kings of Jianghu? Hearing that, Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. He had heard of that name before. However, he had his own plans. The next moment, he snorted coldly and looked very disdainful. "What twin kings of Jianghu? In my opinion, you're just a two-headed monster. How dare a thing like you, who is neither human nor ghost, come here and make a fool of yourself? Get lost." "What?" His words were like a bolt from the blue, causing the surrounding people to feel dizzy. Even the saints and saintesses furrowed their brows. Who is this guy? Isn't he too arrogant? He doesn't know what's good for him. They thought that he was a genius, but he turned out to be an idiot. The saints and saintesses snorted coldly. They did not know Lin Xian, so they made that judgment at that moment. However, a few people did not think so. In the void, a woman's body was covered in light and a chaotic aura. She looked very mysterious. Her eyes flickered as she looked ahead and smiled bitterly. Chapter 24:11. On another mountain peak, a beautiful woman in purple also had a trace of a smile in her eyes. Beside her, a few young women said, "Saintess, do you really not need us to do anything?" A black-haired woman beside them also shook her head with a helpless expression. "Junior sister, I really don't understand. Why do you like him? This kid is so arrogant. Who knows when he will be killed by someone?" In the sky, 9 flood dragons were circling, and there were chariots behind them. At this moment, the young geniuses of the Yi family who were standing in the chariots were also discussing. When they saw this scene, they also frowned. It was said that Immortal Palace was a very low-key and mysterious organization. The people in such an organization should be elites. They did not expect that such an idiot would appear, and it seemed that his status was not low either. What was going on? Could it be that he was not from Immortal Palace? A middle-aged man frowned. The other young disciples also sneered. How dare he provoke the twin kings like this? He would probably end up miserably. That might not be the case. At this moment, an opposing voice was heard. Hearing this voice, everyone turned around. When they saw the chariot, they secretly swallowed their saliva. That was because the person who spoke was the Yi family's saintess. However, what made them puzzled was why their saintess would say such a thing. Could it be that the two of them knew each other? Or how did they know? At this moment, the elders of the Yi family were also very puzzled. The Yi family's saintess did not explain anything. Instead, he said with a smile, "Elders, you will know what I said next. I am definitely not wrong." Hearing the saintess's words, the elders were also interested. One had to know that the saintess was a very proud person. Moreover, his strength and talent were terrifying. If nothing unexpected happened, his future achievements could be said to be shocking. He could even be compared to the great emperor. Therefore, the elders were very curious about the person who was favored by the saintess. They wanted to know what the other party was capable of. Meanwhile, the people around them went crazy. They could not believe their ears at all. What did that kid say? He dared to say that the twin kings were monsters? Oh heavens, he was simply courting death. Just watch, he would be torn to pieces soon. Everyone sneered. That was because they knew that the twin kings of Jianghu hated it when others called them monsters. Sure enough, when the Gemini king heard this, his face immediately twisted. The evil child roared, demonic clouds rolling around his body. The virtuous child's face also sank. His face was no longer full of benevolence. Instead, it was replaced with coldness. To make the virtuous one show such an expression, one could imagine how monstrous the killing intent in the hearts of the twin kings was. "Brat, you're dead meat. How dare you call us brothers monsters? I will let you know the feeling of living a life worse than death. You will be judged by the heavenly Tao and fall into the 18 levels of hell." The virtuous son's voice was also extremely cold. Behind them, Ghostly, Hui Dao, and the people on the black demon ship also paled. They could not understand what the hall master was doing. Why did he deliberately provoke the other party? Lin Xian sneered in his heart. Angered? That's great. He could proceed with his plan. In his opinion, the other party was powerful and stood at the peak of the younger generation. However, there were also fatal flaws. That was psychological distortion. Under normal circumstances, this kind of dark mentality would not cause any problems. However, under his heavenly secret god eyes, nothing could be hidden. If he wanted to destroy the other party, it would take no effort at all. Boom. In the sky, the death scythe turned into a terrifying light shadow and descended from the sky, directly cutting the void in half. Whoosh. Lin Xian's figure flashed and instantly dodged the terrifying light shadow. However, in the next moment, a golden Dharma wheel appeared above his head and pressed down like a golden mountain. Boom, boom, boom. The void shattered as if it was directly obliterated. Terrifying energy enveloped Lin Xian. How terrifying. It seemed that the twin kings were really angry. Yes, the power of this technique was much stronger than before. That brat was definitely dead meat. Seeing this scene, the surrounding experts all began to discuss. However, in the next moment their pupils suddenly shrank. Because they realized that the Dharma wheel had missed and did not hurt the other party. That brat was so fast. No wonder he dared to contend with the twin kings. It turned out that he had such an extreme speed technique. So what? Speed alone was not enough to contend with the twin kings. Just wait and see. He would soon regret it. The twin kings looked at this scene and sneered. So that's how it is. You're relying on speed. However, this bit of movement technique of yours is nothing in front of me. The evil one sneered. The virtuous one's eyes flickered. Like a Buddha, his body shone with boundless light. That's enough. A golden rune appeared in Lin Xian's eyes. An illusion attack was instantly launched. That was the heavenly secret divine eyes, and it was launched so suddenly. Therefore, the twin kings did not have time to react before they were hit by the illusion. Lin Xian did not use floating light to pull their souls into a strange space. Instead, he used a low-key illusion that no one would notice. He did not plan to do it himself. He wanted to let the two brothers kill each other. What twin kings of Jianghu? You're just a two-headed monster. You're just a little stronger than the others. However, that still doesn't change your identity as monsters. Damn brat, I'm going to kill you. I'll definitely tear you into pieces. The evil one roared crazily. The demonic chi in his body surged and instantly formed a huge black vortex in the sky. Countless black lightning bolts pierced through the void and enveloped the space where Lin Xian was. Buzz. Lin Xian's demonic ate was extremely fast and dodged in an instant. Do you think you can escape? The virtuous one's low voice sounded. Save all living beings. Golden light shone in the sky, forming a golden cage that completely sealed the entire space. It was also mercilessly squeezing. He wanted to completely crush Lin Xian. This method was extremely terrifying. There was nowhere to dodge. Lin Xian's dragon sword domain instantly appeared and turned into a defense to resist. For a moment, a sonorous sound rang out. The golden light in Lin Xian's eyes became even more mysterious. In the next moment he continued to speak coldly. Save all living beings? You can't even save yourself and you want to save others? What a joke. However, I have a way for you to save yourself. Kill that black monster and you can monopolize the entire body. Of course, black monster, you can also do the same. Kill this blonde. This entire body will be yours. From now on, no one will say that you're a monster. What? Hearing this, everyone was stunned and the corners of their mouths twitched. Chapter 24:12. They originally thought that he had some powerful methods, but they did not expect him to sow discord. Who did he think he was? He was not the first person to use such a method, nor would he be the last. However, no one had ever succeeded. Central Continent's twin kings were peerless geniuses. Regardless of whether it was their temperament, will, or talent, they were all top-notch. How could a mere provocation make the two brothers turn against each other? Was that the genius of Immortal Palace? How laughable. What Immortal Palace? It was just trash. Cold laughter could be heard one after another. The elders of the Yi family also frowned. Indeed, what was the use of sowing discord? However, their holy physique was full of confidence because he knew that the other party must have his reasons for doing so. Sure enough, Central Continent's twin kings were stunned when they heard that. Then they revealed disdain. A mere attempt to drive a wedge between the two of them was enough to turn the two brothers against each other? What a joke. However, they soon frowned. Especially the evil one, whose face was full of malevolence. At that moment, a mysterious rune appeared in Lin Xian's left eye. He quickly constructed an illusory space and guided the evil one's soul into it. Previously, he had already used an illusory technique as a foundation, so for a moment, the evil one did not realize that he had been pulled into a fantasy world. He felt as if there was a voice in the bottom of his heart. Then a scene appeared in his mind. It was a scene of only one head. He occupied the entire body, invincible and respected by the world. No one would call him a monster anymore. He would reach the peak of martial arts. This kind of scene was what he had been dreaming of since he was a child. However, the reality of the past few years made him realize that he and his older brother could only coexist. It was impossible to kill him. However, for some reason, the dream that he had when he was young appeared again, and it was becoming more and more intense. In fact, it was not only the evil one. The good one was also slowly being guided to have such thoughts. At that moment, the evil one spoke. "Brother, I think what he said is reasonable. Why don't you die? Return this body to me." The good one snorted coldly. "I am the true owner of this body. You were just added later. Now, I want to return myself." What? Hearing that, everyone was dumbfounded. They did not dare to believe it. Their minds went blank. What was going on? Did the twin kings of Central State really turn against each other? Heavens, what kind of joke is this? If it was so easy to sow discord, how could the twin kings of the Central State live until today? Most likely he would be killed the moment he debuted, right? Obviously, ordinary sowing discord was impossible. Damn it, what did this brat do? To think that the twin kings of the Central State would turn against each other. For a moment, everyone was shocked. However, the situation ahead had changed greatly. The evil kid's expression was ice cold, his face sinister like a demon king. "Since you aren't willing, then don't blame me for being impolite." As he spoke, the death scythe in his hand slashed towards the virtuous one's head. What he wanted was the body, so he only wanted to get rid of the virtuous one's head. The virtuous one had the same idea. The celestial treasure in his hand smashed towards the evil one's head. In an instant, the two of them attacked, and the sound of intense collisions rang out. Half of the black demonic chi in the sky clashed with the other half of the golden light in the sky. This scene was not at all inferior to the confrontation between the two saints. Everyone's face was full of shock. This made them even more confused and frightened of Lin Xian. What kind of method did he use? Among them, the people of the Nine Heavens Holy Ground and Five Elements sect looked gloomy, as if they had eaten a dead rat. This was because they had mocked the other party before, thinking that he was an idiot and would never succeed. But now they were quickly slapped in the face. The other party made the twin kings of the Central State fight with just a few words. This method was heaven-defying. The other people who had mocked him also felt their faces burning, as if they had been slapped. Now, they did not dare to speak carelessly, because the young man in front of them was too mysterious. Not only them, but the saints and saintesses as well as the older generation experts, were also staring ahead with flickering eyes. Can't be, how did this guy do it? The 9 dragons pulled the chariot. On the Yi family's side, the disciples of the Yi family were also puzzled. An old man said in a deep voice, "If he guessed correctly, it should be an illusion." The twin kings fell for the other party's illusion. "Wudao, this friend of yours is not simple." Illusion? No wonder. After the other disciples of the Yi family heard this, they also understood. It must be a very high-level illusion that directly affected the twin kings of the Central State. After hearing this, Yi Wudao's eyes flickered. He had already guessed this result, but he did not expect the other party's illusion to be so terrifying. The saints and saintesses also guessed this situation. So for a while they became more vigilant of Lin Xian in their hearts. They even put on their soul defense treasures and jade pendants. After all, no one knew when they would fight with the other party, so it was better to be prepared in advance. How did this guy do it? On another mountain peak, a woman looked stunned. The woman in purple next to her smiled. "Senior sister, I told you not to worry about him. Qingqing, I feel that he is so strange. He subdued the twin kings so easily." The one who asked this question was none other than Zhao Zhirua. The woman in purple next to her was Murong Qingqing. Behind them were the people of Jade Lake. The others, like the saintess of all beginnings, were also surprised. However, the saint son of Thousand Thunder, the Tuoba family, and the saint son of all beginnings looked gloomy, because they recognized the other party. Damn it, it's that kid. Not only them but the people of the Tai dynasty were also here. At this moment they also noticed the other party and immediately gnashed their teeth in anger. That kid is not dead yet? And he joined the Immortal Palace? No matter where he joined, this is his death date. He dared to kill General Xianing. He has committed an incomparably heinous crime. Go and inform Zhan Wuhan that the kid has come out again. I don't believe that the war tribe will spare him. They were the people of the Tai dynasty's eldest prince. This time many princes came. Among them the eldest prince and the third prince came. However, the eighth prince did not come. He was now the crown prince and was supervising the country in the palace, so naturally he could not come here. In the sky, Lin Xian stood with his hands behind his back, looking very calm. On the other side there was a fierce battle. The twin kings of the central state had completely fallen into madness, and the violent battle shocked everyone. Soon, the twin kings of the central state retreated while fighting and went far away. Along the way, everyone who saw them made way for them and did not dare to get close at all. Chapter 24:13. The incomparably terrifying twin kings were sent away just like that? It was really unexpected. For a time, everyone's eyes were on Lin Xian. Let's go. In the distance, Murong Qingqing's figure flashed and flew towards Lin Xian. Behind her, Zhao Zhirua and the young geniuses of the Jade Lake Sacred Ground quickly followed. Brother Xian. A delicate cry attracted Wanda's attention. So beautiful. Who is that woman? She is the saintess of the Jade Lake Sacred Ground. Why is she here? Does she know this young man in front of her? Everyone was puzzled. After all, not many people knew about the relationship between Lin Xian and Murong Qingqing. But from now on the world would know. Lure. Seeing Murong Qingqing fly over, Lin Xian also smiled. In this kind of situation, although Murong Qingqing didn't jump into Lin Xian's arms, judging from the two's expressions, everyone could already guess what was going on. Heavens! The relationship between these two is too close. He actually dared to hold the Jade Lake Saintess' hand? Oh, my goddess. Damn it, I must duel with him. Exclamations and screams sounded. They didn't expect the two to have such a deep relationship. It was hard for them to believe. Because that was the Jade Lake Saintess. She was the goddess of heaven in the hearts of countless people. But now she was taken. How could they bear this? However, this was only the beginning. What shocked them was yet to come. In the distance, another hazy figure floated over. Surrounded by terrifying chaotic light, it quickly stepped on the air. Young Master Lin, we meet again. This is someone from the All Beginnings Sacred Ground. Looking at this chaotic aura, could it be the Saintess of All Beginnings? Heavens, don't tell me that the Saintess of All Beginnings is also having an affair with this kid. Everyone was about to explode. When the Saintess of All Beginnings heard this, she almost fell from the sky. What do you mean by having an affair? Her face darkened. She coldly snorted and swept her cold gaze below. Suddenly, a terrifying force surged downwards. The people below shrunk their necks and didn't dare to speak anymore. Long time no see. Lin Xian looked at him and greeted him with a smile. Everyone below was extremely shocked. Heaven, they actually knew each other. Who was this kid? However, this was not the end. After that, a figure walked out of the chariot behind the 9 dragons. Suddenly, the world shook as if it was about to split apart. What a terrifying power. Everyone was shocked as they looked into the distance. Then their pupils constricted. Some people even cried out in surprise. That seemed to be the Yi family's holy body. What? Holy body? That was an extremely terrifying existence. Perhaps not many people could suppress him. Sure enough, the Saint of All Beginnings, Seiko Dian, and the other great sage sons and saintesses felt the pressure as soon as the Yi family's saint physique appeared. The Alcade Saint also focused his gaze, forming 2 divine lamps. The halo around him became even brighter. Boom. In the next moment, it exploded with a loud bang, forming streaks of shocking light. A mysterious voice sounded between heaven and earth. What a terrifying aura. The Alcade Saint is too terrifying. Everyone was shocked. In the sky, Yi Wudao felt a powerful battle intent. He looked at the Alcade Saint below and was also shocked. Unfathomable. That was his evaluation of the other party. However, he did not come to fight with the other party. He came to see Lin Xian. Brother Lin, long time no see. Yi Wudao walked over with a smile. Lin Xian also smiled and cupped his hands. Brother Yi, I didn't expect you to come too. What? This kid even knows the Yi family's saint physique? And it seems that they have a good relationship. Everyone's heads were about to split open. The other saints and saintesses were also shocked. Not to mention them, even the people on the Black Demon ship were stunned. They did not expect Lin Xian to know so many saints and saintesses. He even knew the Yi family's saint physique. It really surprised them. In the sky, in addition to Lin Xian, Murong Qingqing, the Saintess of All Beginnings, and Yi Wudao also greeted each other. They even chatted with each other. This scene naturally attracted the attention of everyone. For a time, Many figures rushed over from afar. These people should have rushed over from the distant ruins. Or maybe they had just arrived. In short, they were all gathering here. Even the people of the nine heavens sacred ground below exclaimed because they found that their saint had returned. Jiuxiao Seiko, wearing a battle suit, had a cold face, and exuded a powerful aura like a sharp sword. After he landed and learned what had happened, his face suddenly darkened. The next moment he looked up at the sky, and a touch of coldness appeared in his eyes. However, when he saw the other figures in the sky, he frowned. Especially when he saw the saint physique, his pupils shrank. Why is Yi Wudao here? On the other side, the people of the Five Elements sect also exclaimed, Elder, you are here. Their holy son hadn't arrived yet, but their elders were already here. Therefore, the martial artists of the Five Elements sect seemed to have found a pillar of support and told them what had happened. After the elders heard, they were furious. Who dared to be so bold? Did they have a death wish? How dare they attack the Five Elements palace? However, when they saw the scene in the sky, they were also shocked. For a time, they did not immediately make a move. However, on the other side, Jiuxiao Seiko's figure flickered, and he flew directly into the sky. Soon he arrived near Lin Xian and the others. Whoosh! Lin Xian turned his head and looked. Murong Qingqing, the saint of all beginnings, and Yi Wudao also looked at him. For a time, the space around Jiuxiao Seiko condensed, and he was under great pressure. But the next moment, he snorted, and a majestic power gushed out of his body, instantly dissolving the pressure. What do you want? Lin Xian looked at the other party and said coldly. He naturally knew that the other party was the saint of the nine heavens sacred ground, and he must have come here for no good reason. Boy, you have mercilessly killed the people of the nine heavens sacred ground. You have to give us an explanation. Do you really think that the nine heavens sacred ground is easy to bully? Jiuxiao Seiko said coldly. Although the other party had a few friends of the saints and saintesses, and even knew Yi Wudao. But so what? He was also a saint, and he thought that he was not afraid of the other party. What's more, what happened just now happened in front of everyone. He must give the other party an explanation. Otherwise, how could the nine heavens sacred ground survive in the future? Jiuxiao Seiko, it seems that you have not figured things out. Why don't you ask your subordinates who started the fight first? Who insulted the people first? Do you think that with our status, we can endure being insulted in public? If you received merciless ridicule as soon as you arrived, what would you do? The one who spoke was naturally Murong Qingqing. Chapter 24:14. Upon hearing this, Jiuxiao Seiko was so angry that he almost vomited blood. However, the other party was the Jade Lake Saint. Her strength was terrifying. He did not want to fight with her. Therefore, he stared at Lin Xian and said coldly, Brat, how about it? Do you dare to fight me alone? Don't stand behind a woman if you dare. Fight me alone? How do you want to fight me? Lin Xian asked calmly. His expression was extremely calm. It was just a saint of the nine firmaments. He did not take him seriously. Simple. A life for a life. Tell your subordinates to kill themselves and this matter will be over. Upon hearing this, the martial artists below were in an uproar. Those from the nine heavens sacred ground and five elements palace sneered. Behind them, Ghostly and Hu Yidao were infuriated. How dare he tell them to kill themselves? He must be tired of living. In the next moment, the two of them snorted and emitted a terrifying aura again. Boss, leave this matter to us. We can deal with it ourselves. Hu Yidao said quickly. By the side, Guili also coldly snorted as a ghost aura spread out from his body. Lin Xian waved his hand to stop them. He looked at Jiuxiao Seiko again. A life for a life? Are you sure? What's there to be uncertain about? Jiuxiao Seiko snorted. He had to kill those two today. Otherwise, everyone would think that the nine heavens sacred ground was a pushover. Alright, that's what you said. Lin Xian revealed a cold smile as he quickly called out, Ruffian Long. Got it. On the Black Demon ship, Ruffian Long also smiled. Not only did Lin Xian call him, but he also sent him a voice transmission to tell him the plan. In the next moment, the dark red divine dragon's dragon aura surged and transformed into a person. This was a body of pure energy. It was illusory, but it looked exactly like a real person. If one did not look carefully, one would not be able to tell. After that, the dark red divine dragon waved its claw and the red rogue young man flew forward quickly. Soon he arrived near Lin Xian. Seeing another person disembark from the black demonic ship, the surrounding cultivators discussed animatedly, their faces full of doubt. Even Murong Qingqing, Leaf Dao Denier, and the saintess of all beginnings were puzzled. Hu Yidao and Li Tianlan were even more stunned. Jiuxiao Seiko was also taken aback, but soon after he said coldly, "What, you want your trash to die in place of those two? That won't do. Whoever killed him would have to commit suicide to atone for their crimes." "Alright, whoever killed him will have to commit suicide to atone for their crimes. That's what I like about you." Lin Xian's smile deepened. Just as Lin Xian finished speaking, the eyes of the red-clothed young man nearby flashed with a cold light. Then he lifted his hand and pointed to the front. "What's going on? Do you want to fight?" Seeing this scene, the surrounding people were stunned. Even Hu Yidao and Ghostly were stunned. Who was this young man? Why hadn't they seen him before? They didn't know that he was condensed by dragon qi, let alone Jiuxiao Seiko. He thought that the other party was going to attack, so his aura surged out and he was about to attack. But in the next moment he was stunned. Because the red-clothed young man didn't attack. Instead he pointed at him and spoke. "You're Jiuxiao Seiko? You're nothing special. How dare a trash like you behave atrociously in front of our immortal palace? The 9 heavens sacred ground is nothing in our eyes. If you dare to be presumptuous again, believe it or not, I'll slap you to death." What? Hearing this, everyone was stunned. Even Hu Yidao and Ghostly were stunned. On the other hand, Murong Qingqing and the saintess of all beginnings' mouth twitched. Leaf Daodenier's eyes flickered because he had figured out what Lin Xian was going to do. However, Jiuxiao Seiko didn't understand. He was so angry that his whole body trembled. What's going on? Someone dared to point at his nose and scold him? Don't you want to live anymore? Damn it, you're courting death. Jiuxiao Seiko took a step forward. The aura on his body suddenly erupted, and a terrifying phantom appeared behind him. A huge pressure pressed down on the area ahead of them. However, the red-clothed young man didn't react at all because he was condensed by dragon qi and could ignore any pressure. Unless the other party attacked. However, if the other party attacked, he would have a bigger surprise waiting for the other party. After ignoring the pressure, the red-clothed young man continued to curse. "I advise you to get lost quickly and don't make a fool of yourself in front of me. By the way, don't call yourself Jiuxiao Seiko. Just call yourself Gigi and be our little brother. What do you think? I think your talent is not bad. Why don't you be my little brother? In 2 years I'll take you to be promoted and rich." The more the red-clothed young man spoke, the more arrogant he became. Everyone's scalp tingled and they were terrified. Who was this? Were the people of Immortal Palace also arrogant? First, it was Lin Xian who scolded the twin kings of Middle Ground as monsters. Now, someone dared to point at Jiuxiao Seiko's nose and even wanted to take him as his little brother. This made them feel dizzy. This is too much. Jiuxiao Seiko was really angry. Ordinary sky prides couldn't take it, let alone him. Therefore, in the next moment, 2 sharp rays of light shot out from his eyes. Like a heavenly blade, they cut through the void and struck forward. Boom. The red-clothed young man didn't defend at all, nor did he dodge. He was directly hit by the 2 rays of light. Then he exploded and turned into a cloud of snow. He was killed. The surrounding people were shocked. Below, the people of 5 Elements Palace and 9 Heavens Sacred Ground sneered. Especially the people of 9 Heavens Sacred Ground, they cheered happily. "This is great. This brat is so arrogant. How dare he insult our 9 Heavens Sacred Ground? He's dead for sure now. That's right, let him know the power of our 9 Heavens Sacred Ground." On the Black Demon ship, the people of Immortal Palace were also stunned. What kind of show was this? They didn't understand, so they asked the Dark Red Divine Dragon. The Dark Red Divine Dragon said, "Just wait, the show is about to start." Clap, clap, clap. In the sky, Lin Xian clapped his hands and gave a thumbs up. "Jiuxiao Seiko, you're really strong. Even your gaze can kill. You're just a piece of trash. You can't even block one of my attacks." Jiuxiao Seiko snorted. "Brat, don't play tricks. Now let's talk about our business." "Indeed, it's our business." Lin Xian retracted his palm. His eyes were extremely cold. "Jiuxiao Seiko, how dare you? How dare you kill someone of Immortal Palace in front of everyone? Do you really think that Immortal Palace is easy to bully?" This voice was like a clap of thunder, piercing through the void. In addition, it came out of nowhere, so everyone was shocked. Everyone shivered and looked up at the sky. Lin Xian continued, "Earlier, you were the one who said in front of everyone that a life for a life. Now that you've killed a martial artist of Immortal Palace, you should kill yourself to atone for your sins." What? As soon as these words came out, everyone was stunned. They were extremely shocked. They didn't expect that the other party was actually waiting for Jiuxiao Seiko here. The The people of Nine Heavens' sacred ground were ashen. Damn brat, how dare you plot against us? They were crazy, really crazy. Chapter 24:15. Jiuxiao Seiko's face also became extremely ugly. Now he naturally understood what the other party meant. Damn it, I was fooled. So that's how it is. Murong Qingqing and the Saintess of all beginnings suddenly smiled. Yi Wudao's lips curled up. He had already guessed this plan. In the rear, Ghostly and Hu Yidao were also surprised. However, they did not know that the person who was killed was a fake but a massive energy. Fortunately, Peacock was on the Black Demon ship and quickly transmitted her voice. Soon Yidao and Ghostly's eyes lit up. The Temple Master was really a good strategist. Without the slightest effort, without even sacrificing a single person, they were able to counterattack. Now the unlucky ones were not them but Jiuxiao Seiko. They wanted to see what Jiuxiao Seiko could do. On the Black Demon ship, the warriors of Immortal Palace also clapped their hands happily, their faces full of excitement. The dark red dragon snorted proudly. You dare to fight with us? Let's kill you. Damn boy, you dare to frame me? Jiuxiao Seiko roared. Of course he now knew that he was fooled, so he was furious. However, on the other side Lin Xian sneered in his heart. Frame you? Humph, if I don't slap your face swollen today, my surname is not Lin. So the next moment Lin Xian sneered. What, you don't want to admit what you just said? Who said in front of the world that the murderer must pay with his life? Who was it that said in front of the world that they couldn't replace him, that they had to kill him, and that he had to be punished for his crimes? It's only been a minute and you've forgotten what you said? Are you a pig? Jiuxiao Seiko was so angry that he vomited blood. His lungs were about to explode. The other party dared to scold him? He couldn't stand it. Damn it, you deliberately provoked me. Of course, I have a reason to kill you. Really? Deliberately provoking you is a reason to kill? Well then. We, the Immortal Palace, have just arrived here. We haven't offended anyone, nor have we said anything. Yet you guys from the Nine Heavens Holy Land are already scolding us. Does that count as a deliberate provocation? Since you guys from the Nine Heavens Holy Ground are deliberately provoking me, why can't I just kill all of you? It's over. Hearing this, everyone shook their heads and sighed. Originally they had planned to take revenge and slap his face, but Jiuxiao Seiko had completely ruined it. Now that Jiuxiao Seiko had fallen into his opponent's trap, there was no way he could turn the tables around. No matter what he said, he would be slapped in the face. The people of the Nine Heavens Holy Ground were even more enraged. Each of them bared their fangs and brandished their claws. They could not wait to rush up and fight with the other party. Jiuxiao Seiko was so angry that he vomited blood again. He didn't expect that the words he had said before would be used by the other party. His face was slapped swollen. What was he supposed to do? Since your Nine Heavens Holy Ground is deliberately looking for trouble, then you deserve to be killed. What right do you have to seek revenge from me? Lin Xian's sonorous voice shook the Nine Heavens. Jiuxiao Seiko, you'd better get out of here. We don't welcome you here. After that, Murong Qingqing and the Saintess of all beginnings also laughed. On the Black Demon ship, everyone cheered. At this moment, everyone was stunned. They did not expect that the crisis of the Immortal Palace would be resolved so easily. Those saints and saintesses also stared at Lin Xian with flickering eyes. It seemed that the other party was not only powerful but also resourceful. Could be said that he was a very terrifying opponent. However, Jiuxiao Seiko was obviously mad. He had never been so humiliated in front of so many people. So the next moment he roared, "Boy, I don't care what you say. Today those two people must die." Is that so? What's the reason? Seeing the murderous look on the other party's face, Lin Xian did not care at all. Instead he asked with a sneer. I don't need a reason to kill people. Jiuxiao Seiko's voice was cold. He strode over like a killing god. Lin Xian sneered disdainfully. You don't need a reason? If you don't need a reason, why did you say so much before? It seems that you are not only an idiot but also a shameless and hypocritical person. The Nine Heavens Sacred Ground chose a person like you to be the saint. Did your elders have water in their heads? Or is it that the Nine Heavens Sacred Ground was originally a despicable gathering place, and the people inside are all despicable? It's just that you are even more despicable and shameless, so you became the saint. This set of face slaps could be said to have slapped Jiuxiao Seiko so hard that he could not fight back at all. At this moment, except for the people of Five Elements Palace and Nine Heavens Sacred Ground, the people of the other forces and clans all laughed. They looked like they were watching a show. Oh, the Nine Heavens sacred ground is in trouble this time. Yes, they were in the right at first, but now they have become shameless and despicable people. Jiuxiao Seiko's face was probably swollen from the slap. That guy from Immortal Palace was really powerful. First, he made the Twin Kings go crazy with just a few words. Now, with just a few words, he made Jiuxiao Seiko's face swollen and even stepped on the Nine Heavens sacred ground. This method was really powerful. However, not everyone agreed. There were some who sneered. His sharp tongue and a little scheming weren't much at all. In this world, strength was still the most important thing. If he was not strong enough, he would probably be killed by Jiuxiao Seiko on the spot. At that time, face slapping would not be important. Yes, who would care about a dead person? In the sky, Jiuxiao Seiko roared crazily. The aura in his body was like a wave, instantly sweeping in all directions, and the whole sky trembled. A terrifying and frightening power surged out. Kid, no matter what you say, you will die today. You have completely angered me. With that, Jiuxiao Seiko shouted coldly, and his big palm directly slapped out. The void shattered. This palm was so fierce that it directly shattered the whole world. The terrible power enveloped Lin Xian. Yi Wudao snorted coldly, and the golden sacred domain in his body protected him. The saintess of all beginnings was surrounded by chaotic qi, like a goddess. A lotus flower appeared under Murong Qingqing's feet, and the huge petals wrapped around her. Lin Xian's figure changed and disappeared in an instant. Whoosh! He dodged the terrible fist. Kid, no matter how you dodge, you will die today. After missing his attack, Jiuxiao Seiko's murderous aura became even colder. His eyes were like lightning staring at Lin Xian. Lin Xian's face also darkened. Why are you so angry? You want to kill someone because your face hurts? But do you think you can beat me? I just didn't want to fight with you before, but since you want to die, I will fulfill your wish. The sword chi on Lin Xian's body flashed rapidly and went straight into the sky. The terrible aura made everyone tremble. Swordsman, he is a swordsman. Many people exclaimed because it was the first time they had seen Lin Xian fight. Buzz. Chapter 24:16. You want to kill me? Who do you think you are? Today I'll let you know the power of my Nine Heavens sacred ground. Jiuxiao Seiko roared and punched out like a divine king, wanting to shatter the whole world. Boom, boom, boom. The two attacks collided in the sky, bursting into bright light, and then the two retreated 5 kilometers each. Then they quickly attacked again. Everyone was shocked by this scene. He blocked it, he could actually block the attack of the Holy Sun. God, this kid is too scary. Needless to say, he was also a Holy Sun. Unexpectedly, he was so strong. Exclamations came one after another. Indeed, when Lin Xian fought with the Twin Kings before, he didn't use any terrible attack at all, and the Twin Kings went crazy. Everyone didn't think that Lin Xian was strong, but now it seemed that was not the case at all. The other party was definitely a Holy Sun, otherwise it would be impossible to compete with Jiuxiao Seiko. The two exchanged dozens of moves and the sky fell and the earth cracked. Damn it, how could he block it? Jiuxiao Seiko roared wildly. He didn't expect the other party's strength to be so strong, on par with him. Today I'll kill you. Lin Xian shouted coldly. The aura on his body became even more terrifying. The invisible sword chi rushed quickly, and a golden sword light fell from the sky like a golden wave. It covered the whole space. A trace of golden light came out and scattered around, suddenly causing the surrounding mountains to collapse directly. One could imagine how terrible this sword was. This sword chi was so terrifying. Everyone was stunned. It couldn't be helped. The golden sword was originally an offensive sword chi, and Lin Xian had a heaven-stage treasure in his hand. Coupled with the great dragon sword soul, it could be said to be incomparably terrifying. Not many people could block it. At this moment, even the holy maiden of all beginnings exclaimed. Yi Wudao's eyes flickered, and his expression was dignified. Below, the Alcade Holy Sun burst out a terrible halo again. The other holy sons and holy maidens also exclaimed. Because this sword was indeed beyond their expectations. Damn it, how could this kid be so strong? The 10,000 Thunder Saint son gnashed his teeth, while the members of the Mophead family looked gloomy. The warriors of the Tai dynasty and the first prince were even more shocked. Who would have thought that the other party's strength would actually increase again? He was so strong that they were trembling. Damn it, go to hell. Jiuxiao Seiko roared madly. Naturally, he could feel how terrifying this sword was. Therefore, he also unleashed his power without regard for anything else. His black hair fluttered in the wind, and the power in his body exploded. His palms danced quickly. 9 heavens divine palm. A terrifying palm blasted out. 9 giant palm imprints appeared in the sky, like 9 ancient demonic mountains. Their auras were overflowing, wanting to suppress everything. Boom, boom. The 9 giant handprints collided with the golden sword light, producing a shocking sound. The sky collapsed and the earth cracked. Countless bolts of lightning circled the area. The surrounding mountains were instantly shattered into fine powder and vanished into thin air. Not good, this attack is too strong, hurry up and defend together. An old man roared angrily. Those experts all made their moves. A terrifying light curtain flickered. Countless experts made their moves, forming a strong defense, blocking the aftermath of this energy. In the sky, Murong Qingqing, the holy maiden of all beginnings, Yi Wudao, and the others also retreated into the distance. Ghostly and Hui Dao's figures flickered, and they came to the black demon ship. The black demon ship shone brightly, resisting the attack. At this moment, everyone was watching the battle with rapt attention. Boom, boom, boom. The terrible roar was still ringing out, and the golden light became fainter and fainter. That's great. Seeing this scene, the warriors of the 9 heavens holy land cheered. It seemed that their bodies had suppressed the other party. However, halfway through their exclamations, 4 of the 9 giant palms in the sky were directly split apart. The remaining 5 were bitterly holding on, but they were also cut off in an instant. What? The 9 heavens divine palm was broken. How could this be? The warriors of the 9 heavens holy land went crazy, and the others also exclaimed. Jiuxiao Seiko's pupils shrank. His figure was like lightning, retreating instantly. Wanna leave? Sword of Earth. Lin Xian snorted coldly, waving his long sword. The earth trembled and pieces of rocks condensed, forming swords of earth. They protruded from the earth and slashed into the sky. 5 swords of earth surrounded Jiuxiao Seiko. Whoosh! Lin Xian used the sword of fire again. The terrible black flame sword slashed down again. 1 sword and the sky was broken. The terrible sword chi was unimaginable. Jiuxiao Seiko roared, and the sun, moon, and stars appeared around him, as if turning into the universe, resisting the swords of earth around him and the swords of fire in the sky. This was the 9th heaven. Seeing this scene, many saints exclaimed, because they knew that the 9 heavens holy land was very terrifying. It was said that there was a kind of magic called the 9th heaven, which was very terrifying. It seemed that now Jiuxiao Seiko was using this kind of magic. Sure enough, there were 3 light shadows around Jiuxiao Seiko like the sky, superimposed around him, blocking the terrible attack. 3rd heaven. Jiuxiao Seiko used 3 skies to block all the attacks. Then his eyes lit up. Kid, you've completely angered me. Today I'll show you the ultimate skill of the 9 heavens holy land. With that said, 3 superimposed skies appeared above him. It was very terrifying. Another 3rd heaven. At this moment, Jiuxiao Seiko used the 6th heaven. 3 layers of defense and 3 layers of attack. It was really terrifying. This scene was too terrifying. Could you imagine someone using 3 skies to fight? The current Jiuxiao Seiko was like that. He was like a god, waving 3 skies and pressing down. Such a terrible attack made everyone's scalp tingle. No one could withstand it. Perhaps he would have to use his super speed to dodge it. This kid is definitely dead. The martial artists of the 9 heavens holy land clenched their fists. The 1,000 Thunder Saints sneered, and the people of the Mophead family looked ferocious. On the Tai dynasty's side, the Crown Prince's people were even more nervous. It was best to let Jiuxiao Seiko kill the other party. This way they could save themselves the trouble. In the distance, Yi Wudao's eyes flickered. The 9th heaven was indeed terrifying. Although Jiuxiao Seiko had only used the 6th heaven. But it was not something that could be resisted by ordinary skills. I wonder what kind of divine ability Brother Lin will use to resist? It should be no problem. Murong Qingqing was also very nervous. On the Black Demon ship, the people of Immortal Palace were also very serious. Because this battle was related to the reputation of Immortal Palace. The dark red divine dragon Quan Man was panting. He knew that Lin Xian's trump card was definitely beyond imagination. So, he waved his dragon claws and said fiercely, "Kid, kill him for me." No, no, no. Whitey stood on the dark red divine dragon, cheering. In front. Lin Xian furrowed his brows as well. This type of cultivation technique was truly frightening beyond compare. It was as if 3 universes were falling from the sky. Chapter 24:17. Whoosh. He did not take it head-on. Instead, he used the demigods and dodged to the distance. The space where he was originally standing was shattered. He had no choice. The power of the third heaven was too terrifying. Let's see how long you can hide. Jiao Seiko sneered. After displaying the sixth layer of heaven, he became incomparably confident. At this moment, he looked forward with killing intent in his eyes. Kid, I'll let you know the consequences of offending me in the nine heavens' holy ground. What immortal palace. In my eyes it's nothing. You can't compare to my nine heavens' holy ground. Now you can die. Jiao Seiko seized an opportunity. He used the third heaven to completely seal off the area. This time Lin Shen could not escape. You can't escape. I'll let you know what a true peerless superpower is. Seeing this, Jiao Seiko's face was extremely ferocious. In the next moment he formed a seal with his palms. The third heaven quickly pressed down, completely shattering the sky. Everyone exclaimed. They knew that Lin Shen would not be able to block it. Lin Shen was also shocked. He realized that the third heaven was indeed terrifying. It was far beyond his imagination. However, he was not afraid. He had just cultivated the five-element sword. It was just the right time to use it. He swung his sword, sweeping in all directions. Whoosh! Blue sword light shone. Suddenly, seawater surged around Lin Shen and spread in all directions. More and more, as if it was going to cover the entire sky. This is ocean. No, this is sword chi. Heavens, his sword technique has reached such a level. Many experts below exclaimed. On the Black Demon ship, the elders of the Immortal Palace also looked serious. This seemed to be the sword of water of the five-element sword. In such a short time, the palace master could cultivate to such a level. His talent was too heaven-defying. Yes, this was indeed the sword of water. The terrifying heaven sword technique combined with the great dragon sword soul was unparalleled. It was as if there were 10,000 beasts galloping in the sky, making rumbling sounds. This was the sound of the seawater colliding with the three heavens. The seawater continued to gush out, enveloping Lin Shen and spreading in all directions, resisting the terrifying third layer of heaven. The three layers of heaven were extremely terrifying. They formed a triangle and resembled three heavenly blades as they slashed towards Lin Shen. However, at this moment, it encountered great resistance from the seawater. They cut through the seawater, but they were surrounded by seawater instead. For a moment there was a stalemate in the air. In the end, the speed of the three heavens became slower and slower. Finally they came to a complete stop, surrounded by the endless seawater. It was blocked. He actually managed to block it. At this moment, the holy sons and holy daughters cried out in surprise. They didn't expect that the terrifying third heaven would be blocked by the seawater. Seeing this, Lin Shen's lips curled into a smile. It seemed that the sword of water was indeed powerful. It contained an incomparably soft power that could dissolve everything. Damn it, how is this possible? When the people of Nine Heavens' holy ground saw this, their eyes nearly popped out of their sockets. This was a great divine ability of their holy land. How could it be broken so easily? On the other side, the Five Elements Palace snorted. What's the use of blocking it? He can't fight back anyway. In the end, he would still be killed by Jiao Seiko. Yes, that's right. He can only protect himself. Compared to our bodies, he's too weak. The people of Nine Heavens' holy ground gritted their teeth. However, they soon realized that they were wrong. They were wrong. In the sky, Jiao Seiko's face darkened when he saw that his attack was blocked. However, he soon increased the intensity of his attack. Kid, I don't believe that you can last forever. As long as I cut through your seawater, let's see what you can do to resist. Jiao Seiko's voice was cold as the light on his body became even brighter. Lin Shen was surrounded by the endless seawater, but the corners of his lips curled into a smile. In the next moment he waved his sword again and slashed out. Whoosh! The sea water rippled as an invisible force spread out. However, it didn't have any effect. This scene stunned Jiao Seiko. He then laughed out loud. Is this your attack? It seems that you don't have much strength left to fight back. If that's the case, go to hell. Speaking of this, the third heaven in front of him launched another fierce attack. The sea water in the sky surged and splashed as if the Milky Way from the nine heavens was pouring down. However, while he was attacking, the third heaven beside Jiao Seiko changed. In the third heaven, countless green lights suddenly appeared and turned into trees and vines, spreading out in all directions. Soon, a forest was formed and spread to the other two heavens. What's going on? What is this? Why is there a forest in the third heaven? Shouldn't it be the starry sky? The martial artists who were watching the battle were all stunned. They knew that the ninth heaven superpower was a kind of superpower that simulated the starry sky. It was extremely terrifying. But now there was a forest growing on it? They couldn't believe it. The people from the nine heavens holy ground also screamed. Jiuxiao Seiko's pupils shrank. Damn it, what's going on? He was more frightened than these people because he realized that these trees were absorbing the power of the third heaven. The light of the third heaven became dimmer and dimmer. The power in his body was also rapidly draining away. Damn it, it's the opponent's superpower. Seeing this, Jiuxiao Seiko roared, "Destroy!" The third heaven beside him exploded with endless light, cutting off all the forest. However, the broken forest trees grew again and turned into towering trees, absorbing the energy crazily. In an instant, the space around Jiuxiao Seiko was completely surrounded by the forest. It's the kid's superpower. At this moment, everyone understood what was going on, and they all cried out in surprise. The other saints and saintesses were also shocked. The people from the Five Elements Palace looked even worse. Is this the power of wood? This kid can already use the power of the five elements. Could it be that he was a martial artist of the five elements system? This stunned them. Because the Five Elements Palace cultivated the superpower of the five elements. They didn't expect the other party to know a similar superpower of the Five Elements Palace. Damn it, our saint isn't here. Otherwise, we would definitely be able to restrain him. In terms of superpower of the five elements, our saint is definitely the best. Damn it, if it weren't for the fact that there were so many people, we would have asked our elders to take action. We would have killed him with one slap. These people gritted their teeth, but the people around them exclaimed. Jiuxiao Seiko was even more furious. He naturally also realized that this was the power of wood. In the next moment, he coldly snorted and waved his hand. A sky full of flames rushed out from her body and swept in all directions. They formed a flaming divine eagle. Chapter 24:18. Sure enough, when the rain of the forest met the fire, it burned fiercely. The sky was dyed red by the fire. When the green trees turned to ashes, the flaming godly eagle also disappeared. Seeing this, Jiuxiao Seiko laughed loudly. Did you see that? Your attack is nothing in front of me. Is that so? Lin Xian sneered, his eyes filled with mockery. Damn it, what's with that expression? Seeing the other party's mockery, Jiuxiao Seiko's face darkened. In the next moment, his pupils shrank. That was because he felt that the surrounding trees that had turned to ashes were once again fluctuating with green light. Then they quickly turned into towering trees and the vines grew again. My power of wood is endless. You've underestimated it. Now go to hell. At this point, Lin Xian shouted coldly and increased his strength. Sure enough, the trees grew crazily. Countless trees grew from a few meters to a few hundred meters, a few thousand meters, and even 10,000 meters. It was a terrifying scene. It was as if a forest had appeared in the sky. Moreover, it was still growing. Of course, the energy needed for this growth was collected from the third heaven. Therefore, the third heaven around Jiuxiao Seiko became incomparably dim. What was even more terrifying was that Jiuxiao Seiko felt that the power in his body was quickly draining away. Ah, damn it. He roared and removed the third heaven around him to prevent the energy from draining away. Boom. A set of armor appeared on his body and supported his defense. He did not believe that these trees could still grow on his body. A flaming armor appeared on Jiuxiao Seiko's body. It burned fiercely and blocked all the trees that rushed over. Seeing that the power of wood was suppressed, Jiuxiao Seiko breathed a sigh of relief. In the next moment, he turned his head and stared at the front again. His body flashed and he rushed over. At the same time, the third heaven in front of him was like a heavenly blade, mercilessly cutting the sea water apart. Great! Jiuxiao Seiko was going to counterattack. Below, the people of Five Elements Palace and Nine Heavens Sacred Ground cheered. However, at this moment, everyone exclaimed again. Because in the sky, among the countless forests, a golden light suddenly appeared. Boom! A golden sword suddenly flew out. Like a golden lightning, it streaked across the sky and hit Jiuxiao Seiko fiercely. Not good. Feeling the terrifying power behind him, Jiuxiao Seiko's face changed. In the next moment, the light on his body suddenly erupted, forming 9 light shields that surrounded him. Clang! The golden sword collided with one of the light shields and made a shocking sound. Crack! The light shield shattered, and the golden sword slammed into the saint of the 9 firmament. However, the 9th firmament saint was wearing armor, so he was not pierced. His body, Jiuxiao Seiko, his body, Jiuxiao Yu with the sword. He even vomited a mouthful of blood. Not good, Jiao Seiko is injured. Everything happened too quickly. Before anyone could exclaim, Jiao Seiko had fallen into the sea. In the next moment he was surrounded by the merciless sea water. Lin Xian's eyes were cold. The ancient dragon abyss sword instantly exploded. The unparalleled power turned into a giant dragon and slashed down. Sky-shattering. The sword hit Jiao Seiko's body, creating a deafening sound. The surrounding space and endless seawater were shattered, forming a vacuum zone. Jiao Seiko was like a meteor plunging into the ground. The space he was in immediately collapsed. Whoosh! Boom! The ground trembled as if there was an earthquake. Everyone's heart trembled violently. Damn it, how did this happen? The people of Five Elements Palace were gloomy. The martial artists of Nine Heavens' sacred ground screamed. Holy Sun. They could not believe that their holy son had actually been chopped down by someone with a single sword strike. Ah, damn brat, I'm going to kill you. In front of them, countless rays of light surged. Jiao Seiko rushed out from the deep pit. His face was ferocious. The armor on his body was shattered, and blood was flowing from the corner of his mouth. He was about to explode in anger. However, in the next moment what welcomed him was a terrifying giant foot. In the sky, Lin Xian snorted and stomped his foot. Boom. A giant rock foot pressed down from the sky. It was like an ancient demon mountain, shattering the void and completely enveloping Jiao Seiko. Boom. Jiao Seiko flew into the air and was stomped down. Boom. His body landed on the ground again. Not only that, but the giant foot had also turned into a giant mountain and pressed down heavily. At this moment, everyone's eyelids twitched violently. Many people even touched their faces unconsciously. If they were to be stomped by that foot, they would definitely be severely injured. More importantly, they would be embarrassed. A holy son was stomped down in front of everyone. This was definitely a great humiliation. At this moment, everyone was in an uproar. The holy sons and holy daughters also looked serious. On the Black Demon ship, the Immortal Palace martial artists cheered. Great, the Palace Master is mighty. Jiao Seiko? Now you know how powerful we are. That's right, the Nine Heavens Holy Ground wants to fight against the Immortal Palace? You're too far away. Voices came from the Black Demon ship, making everyone's scalp tingle. The people of the Nine Heavens Holy Ground were ashen-faced. They rushed up crazily. However, just as they moved, the giant rock foot shattered. Then Jiao Seiko flew into the air with disheveled hair. He opened his eyes and formed a few hundred meters of light, shattering the rock in front of him. The aura on his body was monstrous. He turned into the Nine Heavens Immortal King, standing in the void. Damn brat, I want you dead. He was crazy. Because he had never been humiliated like this before. He was actually stomped down. How was he going to show his face in the future? He had to kill Lin Xian to wash away his humiliation. Kill. In the next moment he rushed out like a madman. A blue bead appeared in his hand, emitting a mysterious power. Feeling the power, Lin Xian's pupils constricted. He naturally felt a terrifying power from it. It seemed that his opponent had used his trump card. However, he would not continue to fight with his opponent. Heavenly Secret Divine Eyes, Soul Ignition. Jiao Seiko screamed as he flew halfway. His entire body rolled in the air, looking very miserable. Seeing this scene, everyone was stunned. Damn it, what happened? Soul attack, it's definitely a soul attack. This brat is a soul expert. At this moment, the holy sons and holy daughters' eyelids twitched wildly. Fortunately, they had seen the Twin Kings battle earlier, so they put on their jade pendants in advance. However, Jiao Seiko had just arrived and did not know the Twin Kings situation. Therefore his soul was directly hit. Boom. At this moment, Lin Xian slashed out a sky full of sword light. All of them landed on Jiao Seiko's body, sending him flying and vomiting blood. Holy Sun. Chapter 24:19. Say. This time, the people of Nine Heavens' sacred ground could not take it anymore. They rushed into the sky and caught Jiao Seiko. Damn it, let's go. Jiao Seiko's face was pale as he gritted his teeth and said in a low voice. Hearing this, the surrounding martial artists of Nine Heavens' sacred ground were shocked. They did not expect that their bodies were about to leave. It seemed that they were severely injured. In the next moment, they gritted their teeth and roared, "Damn kid, I'll remember you. Immortal Palace, right? Nine Heavens' sacred ground will never let this go." With that, They gathered around the saint of the Jiushao clouds and quickly rose into the air and flew into the distance. They ran away? These people actually ran away. Looking at this scene, the surrounding people were stunned. It seemed that Jiushao Seiko had been defeated. In the next moment they looked at Lin Xian and gasped. This person had actually defeated the Saint of the Nine Firmament. It was truly unbelievable. Because they did not expect this result at all. For a moment, many people looked at Lin Xian with horror. The saints and saintesses were facing a formidable enemy. This was definitely a powerful enemy. However, at this moment, the wind and clouds in the sky suddenly changed. A large palm glowing with 5-colored light slammed down viciously. This palm appeared very suddenly. There was no warning at all. When it appeared, it was less than 200 meters away from Lin Xian. The space around Lin Xian shattered in an instant. Lin Xian's pupils shrank as well. He could feel a powerful aura. In the next moment, the dragon sword realm instantly enveloped him. At the same time, rays of sword chi rushed into the sky and collided with the 5-colored palm. Ka. However, it was useless. The sword chi that filled the sky was shattered by the palm. The 5-colored palm carried the 5 types of energy of wood, water, fire, and earth. It completely merged together and slammed down. This was definitely a terrifying palm strike from a terrifying expert. Lin Xian's face was grave. He roared and was about to use his trump card to resist. However, at this moment, a cold snort came from the black demon ship. One of the elders instantly took out a black ancient mirror, which emitted a black light. Whoosh! The black light was like a bolt of black lightning. It tore through the void and struck the 5-colored palm, piercing through it. Boom! An earth-shattering sound rang out, and the 5-colored palm disappeared, leaving behind only a trace of blood in the sky. Below, among the people from the 5 Elements Palace, an old man let out a muffled groan and withdrew his palm. His palm had been pierced through and was dripping with blood. His aged eyes looked to the sky, his face filled with fear. There was actually someone who could injure him with a single strike. Who was it? This happened so quickly that they didn't even have time to react. By the time they reacted, the 5-colored hand in the sky had already disappeared. Then they cried out in surprise. Someone actually wanted to kill him. Furthermore, looking at the 5-colored palms, could it be that the 5 Elements Palace was about to make a move? In the next moment, countless gazes looked in the direction of the 5 Elements Palace. Sure enough, they saw an old man with bleeding palms in the crowd. It's him. That seemed to be the elder of the 5 Elements Palace. That was an expert of the older generation. He was extremely terrifying. If that slap landed, even a saint would be severely injured. Yes, they didn't expect the elder of the 5 Elements Palace to actually make a move, and he was even injured. What was that black light? It seemed like there were also exceptional experts in Immortal Palace. Sounds of discussion rang out one after another. On the black ship, the elder rose into the air and snorted coldly. 5 Elements Palace, you guys sure have guts. You actually dare to make a move against my Immortal Palace's master. Do you not want to live anymore? This elder's aura was extremely powerful. There was even a black mirror floating above his head. That mirror was very simple and unadorned. It was hexagonal and one could tell at a glance that it was an antique. At this moment, tens of thousands of black rays of light descended, shattering the void. This scene was extremely terrifying and shocking. However, what made everyone even more shocked was the elder's words. What did he say? Immortal Palace's master? Heavens, that youth was actually Immortal Palace's master? They didn't dare believe it. From the looks of it, although they had never heard of Immortal Palace, their strength was definitely not weak. They were at least at the level of a peerless sect. Such a force had a young man as its master? They were dumbfounded. However, it seemed like it was true. For a moment, everyone looked at Lin Xian and exclaimed. Among them, many people had envy in their eyes. His identity had probably surpassed that of a saint or a saintess. No wonder he could win Murong Qingqing's heart. This kid had a great background. The faces of the people of the 5 Elements Palace were extremely gloomy. They didn't expect their sneak attack to fail, and they were caught red-handed. For a moment they fell silent. On the other side, the 10,000 Thunder Saints' face was gloomy, and the people of the Tuoba family were even more solemn. On the other hand, the crown prince of the Tai dynasty was screaming crazily. Palace Master? Damn it, when did this kid become the Palace Master? Wasn't he a rogue cultivator? These people were indeed stunned. Previously, when they joined forces with countless experts to hunt down the other party, no powerful figure jumped out from behind the other party. However, only a few months had passed, and the other party already had a force comparable to an unparalleled sect behind him. This caught the crown prince and the others off guard. Damn it, this won't do. We have to quickly contact the people of the war tribe and kill him. Otherwise it would be difficult to kill him in the future. Everyone was shocked by Lin Xian's identity and strength. Lin Xian's face was gloomy. Damn the Five Elements Palace, how dare they sneak attack him? It was unforgivable. The next moment he snorted coldly and waved his hand. Attack. Order received. On the Black Demon ship, the dark red divine dragon swung its tail and instantly controlled the Black Demon ship. Buzz. A shocking black beam of light flew down from the sky, and its target was the people of the Five Elements Palace. What? Everyone was stunned. They didn't expect the other party to attack so decisively. Hurry up and leave. Countless people rose into the air and flew quickly to both sides. They wanted to leave the Five Elements Palace. The faces of the people of the Five Elements Palace turned green. Fuck, isn't it just a sneak attack? Damn it, how dare you launch such a fierce attack? The next moment they also fled frantically. The elders' faces were also gloomy. They shouted loudly, "Hurry up and defend." The next moment they opened their mouths and spat out shields, bronze pagodas, and formations to form countless defenses. At the same time they retreated frantically. Boom. The black beam of light collided with these defenses, causing a shocking collision. A huge energy wave spread out in all directions. The ground cracked, the sky shattered, and the mountain peaks were instantly flattened. Everyone retreated in fear until they were tens of thousands of miles away. In front of them, the black light exploded, forming a black mushroom cloud that shot into the sky. Bang, bang, bang. In the storm that filled the sky, countless figures were sent flying backward, vomiting large mouthfuls of blood. Some even exploded into blood mist. Chapter 24:20. Whoosh. A Five Elements mountain rushed out of the body of a peerless expert, blocking the path ahead. A five-colored sword light formed under the feet of an elder, bringing all the people of the Five Elements Palace with him and instantly disappearing into the sky. Damn brat, just you wait. This matter isn't over. The people of the Five Elements Palace only left behind these words, leaving behind a large amount of blood and corpses. Humph, you ran fast enough. Otherwise I would have killed all of you the next time. Lin Xian looked into the distance and coldly snorted. The other party had actually dared to sneak attack him. They were truly reckless. He decided that if he saw the people of the Five Elements Palace again, he wouldn't let any of them off. In the sky, the terrifying energy storm disappeared, and a terrifying black hole appeared in front of them. It was so deep that one couldn't see its bottom. Everyone in the surroundings was stunned. The Five Elements Palace had also been beaten away? This brat was too terrifying. Arrogant. As soon as he appeared, he confronted two holy lands. This left everyone speechless. Moreover, from the looks of it, the people of the Five Elements Palace had suffered heavy injuries. Many of their disciples had even been killed. This was definitely a shocking matter. Whoosh. While everyone was in a daze, a golden Taoist robe appeared in the sky and gently fluttered in the wind. The remnant energy storm in the surroundings dissipated. Then a voice sounded from the savage beasts below. Everyone, we came here to explore the ancient tomb. Why is there a need to fight? This was an expert from the Wavering Light Holy Land. Everyone was shocked. They hadn't expected the big shot of the Wavering Light Holy Land to speak up. It wasn't just the Wavering Light Holy Land. In the sky, an elder of the Yi family also spoke up. That's right. I feel that it's time to start cracking the ancient tomb. Yes. An old lady from the Jade Lake Holy Land nodded. She agreed. The eyes of the All Beginnings Holy Land's elder flickered. At this moment, the experts of various great clans rushed over. Lin Xian and the others also focused their attention. I feel that we should first work together to break the seal outside. After entering the ancient tomb, we can compete with our own strength. What do you think? Good. Good. Everyone agreed. After all, fighting outside wouldn't bring them any benefits. Moreover, this was the ancient tomb of a sage. The seal should be extremely terrifying. It was more reliable to work together to break the seal. Good. Since that's the case, let's discuss it. The elder of the Yi family walked out. Many disciples of the Yi family followed him. On the other side, the elder from the Wavering Light Holy Land also rose into the air. People from the other clans and holy lands were all rushing over. For a moment, countless rays of light shone in the sky. This place was the Grand Xia Empire. Most likely, the royal clan of Grand Xia would be the first to investigate this place. Why don't you share the information with us? How about we come up with a countermeasure? Hearing this, many people turned their heads and looked in the same direction. There were many people there wearing yellow robes with fierce flood dragons embroidered on them. One of them was a young man with sword-like eyebrows and starry eyes. He was very handsome and wore a long white robe, which made him look like an immortal. He was a prince of the Great Xia dynasty. There were many elders of the royal family by his side. At this moment, a gray-haired imperial family elder heard this and flew into the sky. He said loudly, "Gentlemen, we have indeed carried out a great deal of investigation. This saint's tomb was very big. Currently, it was hundreds of thousands of miles wide. However, according to our estimates, the entire tomb must be several million li long." So big. Everyone was shocked, but after thinking about it, they understood. After all, this was the tomb of a saint. From the hundreds of thousands of miles that we have discovered so far, we have found 3 places to enter. However, there are too many array formations and seals inside. We can't get through them alone. According to our observations and speculations, one of the 3 places is the weakest. Even so, it will take 100 grandmasters who are proficient in array formations to work together for a month to tear the array formation apart. Hearing this, everyone gasped. It was indeed the tomb of a saint. It was too terrifying. Without further ado, let's begin. After hearing this, the Yi family elders' eyes flickered. Soon, the various great sage lands, great sects, and families all sent out their array formation grandmasters to prepare and work together to break the array formation. Lin Xian also sent out 2 grandmasters. One was Elder Li, and the other was a middle-aged deacon. Of course, that didn't mean that they only had 2 people, but they didn't need to reveal all their trump cards. The other sacred lands and great sects should have done the same. After all, each faction sent out 1 or 2 grandmasters. When they worked together, it would be a very terrifying group. They should be able to break it. The Great Xia dynasty elders said that they needed 100 people, but there were a total of 150 grandmasters gathered. It seemed that everyone wanted to break it as soon as possible. Seeing this, the Great Xia dynasty elder nodded and said, "Everyone, please follow me." Whoosh! They flew into the distance. After flying for a while, the Great Xia dynasty elder's body swayed and he landed below. Seeing this, everyone followed him and landed as well. There was a canyon below that was more than 10,000 miles long. At this moment, the Great Xia dynasty elder entered the canyon. The 150 array formation grandmasters followed him in together. The others landed around the canyon and watched. Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon also followed. The 2 of them looked in the direction and frowned. That was because they had indeed sensed the fluctuations of an array formation. It was very obscure, but there was a trace of a terrifying aura. Boom! The Great Xia dynasty elder landed below the canyon and waved his hand. Immediately, the vines on the mountain walls were all removed, revealing the entire 3 walls. Then everyone was shocked. That was because they realized that the mountain walls were actually engraved with densely packed runes that looked like tadpoles. It was very mysterious. The surrounding people discussed because they couldn't understand it at all. The eyes of the saints and saintesses were also flickering. Below, the 150 array formation grandmasters also began to discuss when they saw the countless mysterious runes. They all frowned. Indeed, this array formation was very mysterious. No wonder the Great Xia dynasty didn't do anything. Even if they did, they probably wouldn't be able to break it in a short period of time. It seemed to be a type of writing. An array formation grandmaster of the Yi family frowned. "Writing? Are you saying that these runes are writing?" The others were also surprised and looked over. They knew that the Yi family was a family of the ancients and they definitely had an inheritance that had been passed down since ancient times. That was something that ordinary families couldn't compare to. Therefore, at this moment, everyone was shocked. Among them, the elder of the Jade Lake Sacred Ground asked, "What did it say?" Since it was writing, it must be a record. However, the elder of the Yi family shook his head. He only knew a few of the words and couldn't connect them at all. Hearing this, everyone sighed, their faces filled with disappointment. But then they felt relieved. They were all the powerhouses of the peerless sects and sacred grounds. If even they couldn't understand it, one could imagine that even if it was writing, it should be very ancient. Chapter 24-21. The other saints and saintesses were also waiting silently. They knew that it would take at least a month to crack it. So it was normal that they couldn't understand it now. However, the dark red divine dragon frowned, and there was a trace of doubt in its eyes. "What's wrong?" Lin Xian asked. "What did you see?" He had also looked at it for a long time. He could only see that there was a strong seal on it, but he didn't know if it was text. The dark red divine dragon sent a voice transmission carefully. "Why do I feel that those runes are a little familiar?" "Familiar? Could it be that you know them?" Lin Xian was also surprised and his eyelids twitched wildly. He also sent a voice transmission to ask. After all, this matter was too important and he didn't dare to expose it. "I don't know them, but I feel like I've seen them before. It looks like some kind of text formed after complexity." "Formed after complexity?" Lin Xian frowned, but he soon understood. "You're saying that you've seen a simplified version of these runes before?" "You can say that." The dark red divine dragon nodded. "But even if it's simplified, I've seen it before. At most, I can recognize a few words." "Then what are the simplified words?" Lin Xian felt that this was a clue. "Demon race's text." "Demon race?" Hearing this, Lin Xian was stunned. How can it be a demon race? Could it be that the ancient tomb of the saint belongs to the demon race? Is the demon saint buried inside? Lin Xian didn't know, but this was also one of the possibilities. After all, the dark red divine dragon suggested such a clue, so there was a high chance that it was the case. Lin Xian didn't tell the others because he felt that even if he didn't say anything, the array formation grandmasters in front would probably have a way to crack it. Indeed, the array formation grandmasters in front had already begun to discuss a way to crack it together. As for the others, some were watching and some felt bored, so they set up camp nearby. In an instant, the surrounding 10,000 miles were all occupied by the people of the Holy Land families. The people of the Immortal Palace also occupied a valley, where they were recuperating. Among them, Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon didn't return to the valley, but had been watching from the side of the valley. Among them, Murong Qingqing came to accompany them for a few days before returning. Hu Yidao and the others also came a few times, but they couldn't understand it. After looking for a long time, they went back to cultivate. Tens of thousands of miles away from the valley, there were countless figures. These people's hidden auras were extremely powerful, and they were not weaker than the experts from the Holy Lands and great sects. At this moment, a light's eyes as it was the scene of the Valius. There were many people standing in front of the image. There were men and women, young and old. Immortal Palaces, Immortal Iames, Immortal Palace, Immortals, Immortal Lin, Immortals. If Lin Xian were here and saw this woman, he would definitely cry out in surprise. This was because this was the Yan Rui that he had met before. She was also the Zhao Shui that Lin Xian suspected. At this moment, Yan Rui's beautiful face was looking at the screen of light before her. Then she frowned. Tiamat, the handsome young man beside her, asked. Yan Rui's eyes flickered. Those words seemed to be the language of the demon race. Now that you mention it, it does look like it. The man in the green robe beside her also frowned. Hearing that, the elders behind were all shocked. They all stretched their heads over to take a closer look. After looking at it for a long time, they were embarrassed because they couldn't understand it. Indeed, they couldn't understand it. The man in the green robe shrugged his shoulders. The surrounding people couldn't understand it, so they looked at Yan Ruyu. Yan Ruyu sighed. I can't understand it either, but I can understand the ancient language. It's obviously beyond the ancient era. I don't know which era it's from. Hearing this, these people sucked in a breath of cold air. Then their eyes lit up. Could it be that this is the tomb of the ancient sage of the demon race? It's very likely. Great. If we can get the things inside, we can definitely develop and become stronger. By then, we might even get news about the nest of 10,000 dragons. Damn it, the demon race's tomb is being occupied by so many humans. I can't take it lying down. Some people gritted their teeth. Why don't we rush over and kill them all? A burly man said. His entire body was covered in scales and he looked very demonic. However, after the man in the green robe heard that, he snorted coldly. Don't be rash. Although the Demon Lord Palace is also a sacred land, there are too many great sects here this time. We must not be rash. We must let them crack the array formation first. We'll just follow behind them. Anyway, this is the ancient tomb of the demon race. We definitely know more about the mechanisms and things inside than them. When the time comes, we'll just go in and snatch the treasures. Everyone agreed to this plan. Yan Ryu also nodded slightly. However, when she saw the flash of a red snake on the screen, a glint appeared in her eyes. But very quickly she hid it. These people were from the Demon Lord Palace. The Demon Lord Palace was a very terrifying sacred land in the southern mountains. The people inside were all related to the demon race and most of them were half demons. They didn't expect that at this moment they would also come. And they began to plan from tens of thousands of miles away. On the other side in the canyon, 150 array masters had already begun to take action. They used everything they had learned in their lives and began to crack the array formation. The other saints and saintesses, as well as the warriors of the great sage land, were all recuperating nearby. Only a few people were watching around. Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon were among them. Both of them were proficient in array formations. Although they didn't make a move, they wouldn't let go of this opportunity to watch. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed. More than half of the array formation had been cracked, but it wasn't broken. This was far beyond everyone's expectations. It seemed that the defense of this array formation was terrifying, and it was even more terrifying than everyone had imagined. After about another half a month, there was finally a boom. Endless spiritual energy in front of them surged into the clouds, forming a strange scene. Is it open? All the warriors in the surrounding thousands of miles stood up and looked up at the sky. Whoosh! Their bodies swayed, and like ghosts they gathered towards the canyon. Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon also stood up, their eyes shining. They had been watching the entire process. Finally, on this day, the array formation in front of them shattered. The sturdy mountain wall was engraved with mysterious runes. At this moment, a crack appeared in the middle and slowly opened. Rumble. The entire mountain range began to tremble. Finally, a pitch-black hole appeared, emitting a primordial aura. At this moment, the sky and the ground were filled with figures. They looked forward and were extremely excited. The people from the Immortal Palace also came to Lin Xian's side. Chapter 24-22. Whoosh! The Yaoguang sacred land cultivator waved his hand and took out several demonic beasts. These demonic beasts were about 5-star demonic beasts. At this moment they were tied with golden chains. Go! 3 demonic wolves and 2 demonic tigers were thrown in. These demonic beasts quickly entered, and the golden chains rattled in the air. After about half an hour, the 3 demonic wolves and 2 demonic tigers returned. They were not injured. They were also in high spirits. Obviously they had not been attacked. Seeing this scene, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that there should be no danger. At least there were no traps in the entrance. Thinking of this, they all became excited. The Yi family, Yaoguang Jade Lake, and the other elders of the Great Sage Land looked at each other and then nodded. They could enter. With this order, these people were very excited. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. Countless figures flew into the cave like locusts, for fear that the things would be taken away if they were a step slower. Let's go. The Yi family set off. Among them, Yi Wudao's figure was tall. His golden sacred domain rushed out, covering the surrounding people, and he quickly entered. After that, the people of the Yaoguang sacred land also entered. The auras of the elders surged, and the young cultivators followed behind the Yaoguang sacred son and the Yaoguang sacred daughter. The All Beginnings sacred land. The sacred daughter of All Beginnings entered with a group of people. The sacred son of All Beginnings snorted and also entered with countless experts. The relationship between the sacred daughter of All Beginnings and the sacred son was not very good, so they divided into 2 groups. Brother Xian. Murong Qingqing looked at Lin Xian. Lin Xian smiled. Follow the sacred land in first. We will meet again if there is a chance. Okay. Murong Qingqing nodded. Then she and the experts of the Jade Lake sacred land walked in. Let's go. Lin Xian took a deep breath. He, the dark red dragon, Hui Dao, Xing Tian, 3 elders, dozens of deacons and 100 elites. They walked into the cave together. Not long after Lin Xian entered, the people from the 5 Elements Palace also arrived. They looked at the figure with gloomy expressions. This time, there was a young man in a 5-colored robe in front of them. He was very handsome and had a terrifying aura. It seemed that this was the 5 Elements Saint. Is that the kid who just went in? The 5 Elements Saint's eyes shone with a cold light. That's right, it was him. The surrounding 5 Elements Palace members gnashed their teeth in anger. When the 5 Elements Saint heard this, he sneered. What's the big deal? When I meet him in the tomb, I'll just kill him. As he spoke, he strode in with his men. On the other side, the people from 9 Heavens' holy ground had also arrived. Jiuxiao Seiko's face was a little pale, but it seemed like he was fine. As he watched Lin Xian's figure enter, his face turned cold and his eyes were filled with killing intent. Damn brat, this time I'll definitely kill you. Let's go. Jiuxiao Seiko quickly entered with his men. Apart from this, countless figures entered, and this continued for a very long time. Ah! Get out of my way. At this moment, a voice came from afar, turning into a powerful torrent that rushed forward. Boom. Many people were sent flying. Damn it. Who is it? How dare you ambush us? Are you tired of living? These people were furious. How dare someone attack us at the entrance of the cave? What? Do you think we're easy to bully? Among these people, there were people from the sacred grounds and also people from the great sections. They turned around angrily. However, in the next moment their faces turned green. The twin kings of middle ground. He was back. These people trembled and with a schwa sound they opened up a path for him. To be honest, they were too shocked. This was because they had seen with their own eyes that the twin kings of middle ground had gone crazy and left. At that time the good one and the evil one were killing each other. They thought that they had to kill one of them to stop the fight. However, they did not expect that the other party would appear again. Moreover, the good one and the evil one existed at the same time, and neither of them were injured. What was going on? Could it be that the two of them stopped fighting? They did not know what had happened, but they knew that the twin kings of middle ground were too terrifying. That kid was probably going to be unlucky. Sure enough, the twin kings of middle ground roared ferociously as they flew. That damn kid, how dare you sow discord? You even used illusions. I won't let you off this time. I'll capture you and suppress you to the 18th level of hell. The twin kings of middle ground rushed into the cave ahead with a cold voice mixed with light that filled the sky. The surrounding people swallowed their saliva crazily. They knew that things had gotten out of hand. When the two sides met, there would definitely be a shocking battle. Let's go quickly. These people discussed and moved forward at the same time. Soon, the princes of the royal family and the various aristocratic families entered one after another. The entire process lasted for a long time. There were too many people. Fortunately, the ancient tomb of the saint was incomparably huge and could accommodate all of them. In fact, the space inside was far beyond their imagination. After waiting for a long time, when most of the people had entered and only a few itinerant cultivators were left, countless figures flew over from the distance again. These people dragged long streaks of light and landed in the canyon like comets. The person in the lead was Yen Ryu, whose clothes were whiter than snow. Next to her was a demonic man in a green robe, followed by a large number of experts. They were the people from the Demon Imperial Palace who were hiding in the dark. When they came to the canyon and saw the two blood-colored doors at a close distance, they all laughed. As expected, it was the language of the demon race. It seemed that this was indeed the ancient tomb of the demon race's saint. There might be ancient cultivation techniques and heaven-defying treasures inside. They had to leave quickly and not let those people get it. These people entered one after another. Inside the ancient tomb, everyone flew quickly. Armor appeared on their bodies and shields surrounded them to prevent others from sneaking up on them. Lin Xian and the others also moved quickly. Not long after, their vision gradually widened and light appeared in front of them. Speed up. Seeing this scene, Lin Xian waved his hand and the people from the Immortal Palace immediately sped up. In front of them was a very vast cave. There were countless white pillars around it, connecting the surface to the top of the mountain. There were even countless holes. At this moment, there were water droplets dripping on the ground, making dripping sounds. This was a karst cave. After entering, Peacock cried out in surprise. The others were also extremely shocked. They looked around. At this moment, someone in front of them pointed at the ground and went crazy with excitement. We're rich. It's actually Earth Spirit liquid. What? Earth Spirit liquid? The surrounding people were shocked and turned their heads. Sure enough, they saw that the liquid in the puddle on the ground was emitting a pure energy, causing their blood to boil. It was really Earth Spirit liquid. And from the looks of it, it should be tens of thousands of years old. Chapter 24-23. We're rich. Hurry up and attack. The people in front exclaimed. They reached out with their large palms and grabbed over. There was no such thing outside at all. Only ancient tombs that had been sealed for a long time would have it. They did not expect to find such precious Earth Spirit liquid the moment they entered. It seemed that the preciousness of this ancient tomb was far beyond their imagination. Get lost. Our unfettered sect discovered it first. In front, a few unfettered sect disciples roared crazily and attacked quickly. Beside them, multicolored light flickered. It was extremely terrifying. Umph. Behind them, a cold snort sounded. A fist quickly blasted over. It was like an ancient demon mountain that did not release any light. However, that power made heaven and earth tremble. Fortunately, this was the ancient tomb of a saint and had the saint's laws. Therefore, the surrounding buildings did not shatter. However, the entire space still shook violently. Boom. The terrifying fist shattered the unfettered sect's attack. The blood in the bodies of the unfettered sect disciples churned as they flew forward. They crashed into the stone pillar in front of them and countless fragments fell. They roared crazily. Damn it! Who was it? Soon they were stunned. Four symbols sacred ground? You dare to go against our unfettered sect? Haha, treasures belong to those who are capable. What do you mean by yours or mine? This is an ownerless item. Behind them, a few burly men sneered. They were very tall and their muscles bulged with terrifying power. They were the martial artists of the four symbols sacred ground. Well said, treasures belong to those who are capable. However, the four symbols sacred ground should rest at the side. A few people with the aura of the Tao of Dragon around them walked out. They were from the royal family. Seeing this scene, many people exclaimed. The experts of the four symbols sacred ground frowned. The people of the Ninely dynasty you want to attack too? Nonsense. Get lost if you don't want to die. The experts of the Ninely dynasty snorted coldly. The aura of the Tao of Dragon on their bodies surged with destructive power. Courting death. The experts of the four symbols sacred ground roared and charged over. In an instant, a great battle broke out. It was extremely terrifying. Not only here, but there were intense battles everywhere because the earth spirit liquid on the ground was being fought over by everyone. However, these people knew the severity of the situation. They controlled the battle within a certain range and did not affect the surroundings. Otherwise, the collapse of the saint's tomb was no joke. Moreover, they were even more afraid of the traps in this place. If they were to encounter a trap, a terrifying array formation would appear. Therefore, although these people were fighting fiercely, their energy was precisely controlled and did not leak out at all. Young master, what should we do? When Hu Yidao and the others saw this, they were also very excited. Seeing a treasure, they naturally had to make a move. Lin Xian smiled. Let's split into 3 teams. Elder Wang, you lead a team. Elder Lu, you lead a team. Elder Li, stay by my side. Yes. The 3 elders nodded, and Lin Xian looked at the 100 elites behind him. Split into 3 groups and follow these 3 elders. Ghostly, you go to Elder Wang. Yidao, you follow Elder Lu. Peacock, follow me. Let's split up. If you are in danger, send out a distress signal and we will provide support. Yes. These people were divided into 3 groups. With a single command, the 3 teams transformed into 3 torrents and joined in the scramble. Little White, it's up to you. Lin Xian did not attack, but instead he pulled out the little white monkey. The little white monkey was very excited. It hugged the small bowl and ran around. With a flash of light, all the earth essence in one of the puddles was swept away. Ah! Who is it? The surrounding people roared crazily. Damn it! Who did it? Come out now. These people were really crazy. After fighting for so long, the earth essence liquid disappeared. How could they not go crazy? Whoosh! The little white monkey came back and danced excitedly. There was a lot of earth essence liquid in its small bowl. Good, good, good. Elder Li's eyes widened into a smile. He quickly took out a jade gourd and placed all of the spirit liquid inside. The little white monkey moved and went to fight for it again. Peacock, bring some people along. Lin Xian smiled. Peacock could not wait any longer. Although she was a girl, she was very battle-hungry. At this moment, she led the elites behind her and quickly rushed to the battle. Only Lin Xian, Elder Li, and Xing Tian were left. With these 2 powerful people guarding him, Lin Xian was not worried about his safety. Brr. At this moment, a strange cry sounded in the sky. Then a red figure rushed over. Ha 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 ha. It's all mine. To be able to make such a sound, there was no doubt that it was the dark red divine dragon. Damn snake. Get lost. The powerful beings of the Vermilion Bird sect roared. The flames on their bodies surged into the sky and formed the projection of a vermilion bird, which enveloped the dark red divine dragon. They wanted to refine it. Bam bam bam. The dark red divine dragon swung its tail and slapped the projection of the vermilion bird away. Then it slapped the powerful beings of the Vermilion Bird sect and sent them flying. Then it opened its mouth and swallowed the entire puddles. Gulp gulp. He drank all the earth essence liquid in the puddles. Ha 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 ha. Awesome. Delicious. The dark red divine dragon yelled excitedly. Seeing this, the eyes of the surrounding people turned red. There were at least 100 drops of earth essence liquid in the puddles, but they were all swallowed in one gulp? How could they accept this? Damn snake. Spit it out. The powerful beings of the Vermilion Bird sect roared. They rushed over again. The eyes of the people from the other sects were also red. In an instant, 3 forces surrounded the dark red divine dragon. In the distance, many elders were so angry that they vomited blood. What a wastrel. If they took those 100 drops back and refined them with spirit herbs, they would definitely be able to refine countless spirit pills and miraculous medicines. But now they were all swallowed in one gulp? That's not wastrel. What is it if not a waste? Spit it out? Sure. I'll spit it out for you. Pa 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 pa. I'll spit all over your faces. The dark red divine dragon spat crazily in the air. This was not ordinary spit, nor was it earth essence liquid. It was dragon breath. Of course, this was different from the legendary dragon breath. Legend had it that a drop of dragon breath was comparable to a peerless divine medicine and could bring the dead back to life. However, in reality, dragon breath was extremely corrosive. In an instant, all the attacks in the sky were melted, and some landed on the bodies of those people, causing them to emit sizzling white smoke. Those people were rolling on the ground and screaming crazily. Damn it, this snake is too evil. What did it spit out? Oh no, its spit is poisonous. Don't let it hit you. In an instant, all kinds of screams were heard. The cultivators in other places also twitched their mouths. Where did this terrifying monster come from? Fortunately, the snake did not have any designs on the earth essence liquid. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.